Gangs of New York.
Bill the Butcher.
Bill Butcher, just an absolute banger.
His Last of the Mohicans is fantastic. I read that book as a kid. He's really good. He's Abraham Lincoln.
Little Abraham Lincoln.
He looks just like him too.
Apparently a member of the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln?
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, it can't be D-Day.
Yeah.
There was also this great movie called The Age of Innocence. It's like a Victorian period piece. The most boring movie you could ever discover in your life. But it has, I think Michelle Pfeiffer's in it and Winona Ryder. I believe, if my memory serves me correct. He's fantastic in it.
I mean, he's in it.
I mean, boring is all boring. We owned that on Laserdisc when I was a kid.
Squirrel moment. Speaking of Michelle Pfeiffer, apparently the other day was the 25th anniversary of the release of What Lies Beneath.
Great movie.
That was one of those where it's good movie. It's not necessarily terribly rewatchable, kind of in the same vein as like The Sixth Sense. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Because once you get it, then it's like,
The
all
Sixth
right.
Sense,
secret's out.
The Sixth Sense was a great rewatch the first time you rewatched it.
Yeah.
That was a great rewatch. And now it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I feel like every M. Night Shyamalan
Yeah,
movie is
all
it's a one and
Shyamalama-
done. Shamalama Ding Dongs?
yeah, it's all a shamalama ding dong. All of his movies are like that. The
Yeah.
Village I really enjoyed, and
I
then the
enjoyed
end
The
I was
Village.
like, oh, done now. Again, one rewatch, and then you're done.
I think Signs is one of those, though, that I can watch.
Well, that's
a few
because
more
of
times.
Mel and Joaquin.
Yeah.
Like that's what that is.
Signs is good.
Signs is
I
good.
saw
like-
Signs in the movie theater, and it scared
Oh,
the
that
hell out
moment
of
you
me.
see that alien walk across the
Oh,
television
it got
screen in
me.
Brazil.
Oh, it got me.
It makes you jump and your beehole puckers and yeah.
The Joaquin Phoenix putting on the tinfoil hat
was really
just to
good.
cut away and cut back in. I was like, all right, that was pretty good. I like that.
Swing away.
Swing away. I watched another Joaquin Phoenix movie this past weekend, Eddington.
I haven't
You guys
seen
seen
that.
Oh, I
one?
haven't seen it. Is it good? I saw it on the. It was an option for the plane
That's right, it was.
Yes,
huh?
Yeah.
it's based in Eddington, New Mexico in May of 2020. So we're 3 months deep into COVID and it's a small town in New Mexico and tensions are rising and whatnot. And Pedro Pascal is also in it. He's the mayor of the town. Joaquin Phoenix is the sheriff. Emma Stone is in it. She's Joaquin Phoenix's wife. And anyway, good movie. The first probably half an hour or so is, I don't want to say cringe, but it's uncomfortable because it's a lot of that early COVID discussion and like, why are you guys such idiots? From either side.
You
But
mentioned.
Meanwhile,
go ahead.
meanwhile on the plane, I watched Nobody too.
Started that last night.
Bob Odenkirk. Yeah,
Yes.
it's what you expect.
We
it to be.
we watched the number one the other night because we wanted to set it up for number
Yeah.
two, and the wife hadn't seen it. And
No, they're
I
fun
was
little
surprised how much the
standalones.
wife liked it. She really liked it. She was excited after the first one. She was excited to watch the second one.
Yeah, no, it's look, it's not masterpiece theater, but
No.
it's you want to turn your brain off and enjoy some time. Cool, and it's a tight. I think it's like a tight 90 minutes.
It knows what it is.
Yeah,
Speaking of Pedro Pascal, it was my best friend's birthday on the 5th.
Pedro Pascal's your best friend.
Nope. I wish, because then maybe I could see Mandalorian and Grogu early because I'm really excited to watch that movie.
Wait, they're making a movie out of it?
Yeah, there's not a season 3 of Mandalorian or a season 4 of Mandalorian. It's a movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. But
Nerd.
his birthday was on the 5th, but he's in Mexico. He doesn't come back till next week, and he doesn't remember that I do this show because he calls me all the time during it, so I know he's not listening. But I discovered what I'm going to get him for his birthday. I got a little book at Barnes & Noble yesterday that's called Happy Little Friends, and it's Bob Ross paintings with like fill-in-the-blank statements. Like, your friendship means to me the same as fill-in-the-blank.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to make it comical, like poke a lot of fun at us as idiots, and I'm going to get him a giant framed poster of the sexiest-looking Pedro Pascal I can find.
Okay,
I was very excited about that gift.
there you
I
go.
think he's going to love it.
Or what you do is you take that famous that meme from the oh god, what's that movie called with Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal, where it's Nick Cage in real life or playing himself.
Oh God,
But like that meme from the convertible car.
Yeah, the crazy eyes.
Yeah, so you take
Yeah.
your buddy's face and you put it over Nick Cage's, and then you have Pedro Pascal in there with the big smile.
There you go.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Totally random adjacent. I made
Weird for this segment.
Yeah, I know. I made ramen.
So out of pocket.
I made ramen last night, and I hadn't made it in like 30 years. Why do we not make it more? Like, why is that not a more like? I understand.
You have no idea how much ramen we go through in
And
our house.
I'm not talking about like instant ramen.
Well, I am.
I know, but that's what I mean.
I
Like,
make plenty of instant ramen.
no, because it's not that hard to make really good ramen.
Nah.
Like bone broth, some aromatics, some meat, some ramen noodles, and then like all the accoutrements you want to put in it. And it's not that hard, but boy, does it come out good.
We literally have a little microwave dish that you put it in there. You get your top ramen packet. You put it in there. You fill up the water to the line. You microwave it for 3.5 minutes. You put it in your mix, and you're done. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but I'm talking like I did
I know, but I have a 9-year-old.
Well, look, here's the thing though.
And I also have the palate of a 9-year-old.
Here's how you can do it though, and still keep it really easy.
Yeah.
I had never done this before. The soft-boiled egg and then letting it soak.
Mm-hmm.
I did a bunch of soft-boiled eggs, pulled them out, got them in the ice bath, peeled them, and then I took the old NutriBullet container and filled it up with a little bit of soy sauce and sriracha, like a little marinade, as it were.
Marinade.
Put them eggs in there, let them sit for like 2 hours because I did the prep before I took it over for dinner, and cut those things in half, toss them in the ramen with the noodles and the steak and the green onions and all of the things. Oh my God, dude. It was just incredible. I was like, what? Why is this like, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up with Mexican food just being like the just dominating food that I make. But there's a lot of like Asian food that's really simple to make and really good. And like I'm talking from scratch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to make true ramen or true pho, stuff like that, your bone broth needs to cook for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what makes it a little challenging. You know where I sit on it. Ramen's not my jam. I'm more of a pho guy.
It's too fatty.
It's too fatty. I've heard that promo a lot, Jeff.
Thank you for that.
A
Appreciate
lot.
Appreciate
wink,
you.
wink, wink.
I know they're getting a little stale.
But I love making Asian food. I mean, I've got a whole like spice rack, sauce rack of everything of Asian. I've got some nice Asian cookbooks. I'm really into it.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the homemade sushi coming up next.
I'd eat rice every day. I've been asking for a sushi set for Christmas for years. I need the bamboo rollers, a nice knife. I'll take care of the rice, and I will worry about where I find the fish. But I've been asking for it for years, and nobody's ever got it for me.
Dude.
I put it on my Secret Santa list that I do with my siblings. So hopefully you're listening, and I'm assuming you're not. That I
But in
hope
case you are.
that comes through.
I hit up the H Mart. I hadn't been in there.
Dude, H Mart is a jam,
bro. I did not realize that is where they're hiding all of the good meat.
Yep.
At good prices.
Well, or what's the other one? I know there's one in Tigard that used to be in Albertsons. 99 Ranch also.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that just opened, didn't it? I think that opened within the last year.
At that location, no, it's been there for
okay.
several years.
But yeah, I haven't been in that H Mart forever.
it is a
It's-
national chain.
It's the one in Tigard, off 99. Right next to Bi-Mart, and I popped in there, I was grabbing some stuff to make all of this, and I was like, oh, let's see what they have for meat. Number one, they have like the freshest fresh of all of the seafood. They had king crabs that the size of this table back there. I was like, good God, what is this
the
thing?
size of the tanks that they have in this
Just-
store, like the 99 Ranch, they're enormous.
Just crazy. But I got to the red meat section, and they had like A5 Wagyu for like $13 a pound, and I was
Sweet.
like, wait, what? And I'm just going through it. Like there's skirt steak, there was bone-in ribeyes, like everything was a third or a quarter of the price of what it is that you get at grocery chains. And I was just like, why? Why is this so much cheaper? And it looked better. Looked better than the meat that we have at our grocery stores.
Did I hear that Wagyu is an overused term and most stuff is not actually Wagyu?
Well, kind of like how most of the wasabi that we get here isn't actually
not
wasabi.
wasabi.
But I'll tell you what.
It's like 1%.
But I'll tell you what. It's mostly horseradish. Don't try and use horseradish for sushi.
No.
It is not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
No.
So there must be some weird like preservative filler or some garbage in it to make it actually kind of taste like wasabi.
Have you ever had real wasabi?
No, I've not.
It's a banger. I had it when I was in Japan, and you do when you have the real stuff. You're like, oh, the texture's different.
Kyoto is high on my list of places I would like to travel to.
I mean, all of Japan is super dope.
Yeah. Oakley, we got a show for you today on this Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, so we have Tyson Alger will be on at 10:30 like he always is for 2 seconds as we'll start breaking down Oregon Ducks as they take on the James Madison Dukes. So that's our first hour here with you. We'll get to a little NFL breaking news from this morning. Bowl season has started. We have Danny Cannell join us, talk a little college football playoff and Ducks, etc. He'll come on at 11:30. And then we'll get into some NBA chatter in the noon hour. Some Blazer talk, some Cup prep talk, stuff like that as the Blazers get ready to get back in action. When we come back here on Portland Sports Leader, how to prep for a game. Do you prep differently because of the opponent, or do you try and keep things the same? We'll do that next. 105.1 The Fan. 10:20 here, Portland Sports Leader. Don't you forget it, baby. We are live from the shadows of the historic Fremont Bridge. 503-864-6326 is the fan text line. She'll let you interact with us throughout the entire day. Also over on the YouTubes, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. The YouTubers are the text lines mad at you for
I
blowing
know.
up
I
their
just
spot.
say.
I didn't say it because I'm trying to protect the secret.
I know, man. There's a particular place. If you miss it in the first segment, go back. and
Don't
listen.
go back and
Yeah.
listen to it.
But yeah, there's multiple people that are frustrated. with
Oh,
me
what
that
are
I'm-
we talking about? The H Mart?
Wow,
Rusty.
wow,
Rusty. Slap it to a Slim Jim.
Unbelievable. But yeah, no, I'm telling you, man. That I will say, I almost got killed driving in there by 3 different people driving in that parking lot. So there's that. So
That parking lot is weird. Well, it's like it's an old Zupans
yeah.
on Belmont. It's an old Zupans. And that parking lot when it was a Zupans sucked, and it sucks now that it's an H Mart. It's really wild too because a lot of Asian grocery stores are very basic. Like there's not a lot of fancy decor. There's not a lot like
It's just stuff.
it's just stuff, and it's usually like very affordable because I got a little one on Killingsworth.
Except for
then
the
I-
rice cookers.
yeah.
I got a little one on Killingsworth in North Portland, kind of on my way home that I'll stop by sometimes because H Mart's out of my way, and it's the same situation to where like a Zupans is this like bougie upper end hoity-toity grocery store, and then you walk into H Mart and they're like, "What? You need some rice vinegar? It's right over there."
Yeah. There's an
Pretty
aisle
great.
there that I swear it has every form of instant noodle, ramen, whatever, just in bulk for as far as the eye can see. That's the other thing I realized about that place. Like a lot of the restaurants buy their stuff there. Like they have bulk for everything. And not just like the home like Costco bulk, but like restaurant bulk. And I was like, "Oh." Like if you something like if you cook something fairly regularly, you can get down on it like that. I like that.
I like it too, especially because you can find things that nobody else knows about. And some of those instant ramen stuff that you find there that you can't find anywhere else are
Bangers.
1,000 times better than anything else. Well, Ducks and Dukes are on the Fan this Saturday. Pre-game coverage starts at noon with Ducks Game Day brought to you by Coors Light and wraps up with the Dick Hanna dealership's post-game scoreboard following the game. It's a big one this weekend as the James Madison Dukes are in town to take on your Oregon Ducks, Danny Meringue. And I'm fascinated from a like X's and O's standpoints of behind the scenes, and I think it's really easy to say, well, Dan Lanny, he takes every opponent seriously. He's looking at weaknesses. He's looking at their strengths, blah, blah, blah. But I'm curious because we sit here on the Fan. It's not just us. It's kind of everybody else. And I understand why, so I'm not blasting anybody for it. And I'll be interested to hear what Tyson Alger has to say about it as well, of kind of overlooking this game. So if you're Dan Lanning, you are not overlooking this game. But how do you get, a Thieneman or a Dante, or a Poncho, Obviously, if you got guys that are dealing with injuries, they've got something to focus on to get better. If DeCorian Moore can go, obviously, what he's going to think about. But, like, what is Amari Washington thinking about? How do you get these guys up for this game? Is it just based on situation? Based on what you could have? Because there has to be that lingering thought. These kids are 20, 21 years old, 19 years old. I know when I was in that world, I was not taking a whole lot of things seriously.
No, and I think that's the thing you have to guard against. And Lanning and his staff, I'm sure, have gone about that of putting things in place to guard against that, to keep focus, keep the main thing. And I'm sure he's trying to. He's done really good with the mind games and the prep and all those kind of things. We always get the Ducks versus them, or what comes out of that. And against USC, it was Matt Leinart ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, we're wearing black because we're going to a Trojan funeral.
I was like, all right, guy.
It's a great line. I don't know if he writes them, but whoever writes his lines, they're great. I know it drives you nuts because it's SC.
Oh no,
But
I just went. Okay.
As far as corny coach stuff can go, Lanning is top tier.
Oh no, he in that vein, yes, he absolutely kills it. But no, that's the thing is like I think he does strike the right notes in those kind of situations. How many times this season did they have to do this? The first 4 games of the year.
Yeah.
So like if you want to call, and again, JMU's not that team. You know what I mean?
No. I'll take JMU to beat OK State by like 15, 20.
Yeah, no, like, that's what I mean. Like they're a good team.
My team can beat OK State.
Your team can't beat JMU.
Or Oregon State twice. I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
I should not have said that.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see. I want to know what the intensity level is at first, because I think maybe the best way to sell this to your players is go out there, whoop ass early. Like get this thing over with early and get your ass to the bench and start partying with the fans in the stands on a Saturday night in Autzen. That's probably the way I would approach it if we're just like truth syruping, because I know that we take all opponents seriously, and it's 4 quarters, and we're, everybody's 0-0, and we're just trying to win 1-0, blah, blah, blah. I know you can get behind that, but I think if I actually had to like dox myself and gaslight myself, it would be, let's get in there, let's get this job done, let's get the hell out of here and not hurt, and we're on to Miami.
We don't need any extra motivation to come in and want to whoop your ass.
Exactly.
What I want to see
Mama didn't raise no bitch.
On the flip side, I hope GMU makes them pucker a little bit in the first half.
I hope so too, dude.
Oregon can pull away and do all those things, but honestly, I think it'd be good for Oregon. I don't think you want to just go in there and mop and then maybe get a little too high on your own supply with the difference between JMU and Texas Tech.
Totally. Now, JMU's got a pretty good defense. I don't know if their defense is the level of Texas Tech, but that's going to probably be what I'm most focused on. Is I want to see Dante. I want to see if they allow him to open up that offense, because I'll tell you what, if Noah Whittington and Jordan Davison get going early, it's going to be ugly, and it's not going to be, honestly, from like an entertainment perspective, it won't be that entertaining of a game, because those guys will just pound it down your throat. They'll conserve Dante, make sure he doesn't get hit, and they'll just pound the rock.
It's interesting, if the Ducks do win this game, they will go on to play Texas Tech, and they will have played, after playing Texas Tech, the 3 best rush defenses in the country. Tech is currently the number 1 rush defense, James Madison number 2, Indiana number 3.
Wow. That's fascinating. That's why that Texas Tech matchup is so juicy.
It is, and if you look at the points per game, I believe Ohio State's still number 1. Yeah, Ohio State's number 1. Indiana number 2. Texas Tech 3. James Madison is what, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the points per game. Oregon would have played the 2, 3, 9, and 10 defenses with Iowa at 9 and James Madison at 10.
Well, I do hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. It's similar to North Texas being the number 1 offense in college football.
That's who you
have you played?
Yeah.
You held my Cougs to 20 points. Good for you. Like that's where I get a little wishy-washy on that.
And their one loss in the season is against Louisville. It was 28-14. Otherwise, they beat Texas State and Old Dominion and Marshall and App State and Washington. Oh.
Yeah.
Washington
But without the schedule in front of you, like how many Sun Belt teams can I name? I think it's James Madison and Appalachian State. I think that's all I got.
And they beat App State 58-10.
Who blew out Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, dude, my team sucks.
So, yeah, the transitive property is not doing you any favors with JMU.
No, it's not. And let's get Tyson Alger in here, and let's talk to him about the challenges of getting ready for this game and taking on a James Madison team, what James Madison does that presents troubles, and what he expects to see. I'm going to ask him a lot about Dante Moore and maybe a little Will Stein, Tosh Lupoy stuff as well. So we'll get to Tyson next, but first we'll toss it to Rusty with sports.
This is the firm of Harris and Meringue. First round week of the college football playoff is brought to you by Video Only. Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, some big news out of the NFL this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins benching quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in favor of 7th-round rookie Quinn Ewers. Tagovailoa threw 2 touchdowns in garbage time in Monday's loss to the Steelers, but also threw his league-worst 15th interception on the season. Over in the NBA, the Trailblazers, like most of the rest of the league, they are off today. Their schedule resumes tomorrow night, hosting the Kings. Portland 10-16 on the season, 11th in the Western Conference. Only 2 games in the association tonight. 5 o'clock, the Bulls 5.5-point underdogs hosting the Cavaliers. And then in another 5 o'clock tip, this one on NBA TV, the Timberwolves are 7.5-point favorites hosting the Grizzlies. And on the college court, Oregon men's basketball in action tonight as well, hosting the Portland Pilots. A late 8 o'clock tip on the Big Ten Network. Coverage here on the Fan Sports Network starts at 7:30. The Ducks are 19.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
the home of the firm of Harris and Meringue. Weekdays 10 to 1. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
All right, it's a Wednesday. That means our good buddy Tyson Alger, the I-5 corridor lookout Eugene Springfield, joins us to preview the Ducks and the Dukes this weekend. A reminder, you can catch all coverage right here on the Fan Sports Network, home of the Ducks. Tyson, hello. How are you? Are you ready for the holiday?
I definitely am. Although I did just start to look at some of the flight prices to Miami, like not to get ahead of ourselves or anything. And
we would never do that. Definitely not here at the Fan. All 6 of us, 7 of us have not decided that this game doesn't matter. No.
Yeah, but it's kind of that cart before the horse. But also, like, if you don't order the cart before the horse, you're gonna be paying double for it. And so excited for the holiday. A little bit stressed out about the next couple weeks.
Well, let's start right there. I've been making the joke the last few days that whether it's Dirt and Sprague in the morning, us here, or Luke on the Happy Hour show, or the Primetime Boys, that we've kind of overlooked this game, and I think we all understand why, and I don't want to try to backtrack on any of that. But from an Oregon Duck perspective, and we know Lanning's going to say the things that he needs to say, but I'm more curious about the players. What do the players need to do to take this game as seriously as they need to?
I don't think it's terribly hard for them to do that. Like, I think, especially with a couple weeks off here and wanting to get back on the field and kind of hit people. I think it'll be pretty easy for them to kind of like refocus on the fact that it's a home game. Like, I think this would be tougher if you were playing this 12 seed, like on a neutral, at a neutral site where you didn't kind of have the juice and kind of like the rhythm of a home game. That's the thing about this thing is, while the Ducks say they are going to try to add a few extra kind of wrinkles for the playoff atmosphere, like they're treating this thing like a home game. It's going to be the same music. It's going to be a lot of the same presentation, and they're going to be expecting kind of like the same kind of advantage that you get for playing in Autzen Stadium. So I do think it's easy to kind of look ahead for us because, we're the ones that are doing the whole, how good was this season? Like, what are the expectations? What's this mean for legacy? All those, like, did this team make it further than last year? Like, that's all stuff we're concerned about. But I think this roster is veteran enough, and a lot of them experienced what happened last year with Ohio State. I think they just kind of know that the process of winning 4 games is you got to start with 1. So I think they'll be okay for that.
Tyson, I was talking to Dirt about this, and just kind of get his, thoughts on, being a Duck and being a, Duck through and through, what it means to have this game and how excited he was or wasn't for this game. And the way he phrased it was like, heck yeah, man, I'm super excited because it's a home playoff game where it's probably going to be a blowout and it's going to be a party for 4 hours with 60,000 of my closest friends. Is that kind of the dynamic that you're feeling out of this? Is there any worry at all? Like, anything can happen. We all know that. But, like, is there anything out there that you feel like that David versus Goliath that, the 1 in a million chance can land?
Man, it's tough. I mean, we can see what, like, maybe if the weather decides to play a factor on Saturday too, and if we get some more of this wind and rain and it turns into like one of those hold on to the football, whoever gets rid of the ball the least wins sort of things. But I think what benefits this Oregon team is just like the way the variety of styles in which they've been able to win football games this year. They've been able to play aired out games like USC. They've been able to play in the slog and in the mud like Iowa and Wisconsin. And so, this JMU team, like they're talented. They have a really, really good quarterback who gets a lot of attention for how he runs the ball, but like he can be explosive too with the way he throws it. And so like I do think that, if you do make some costly mistakes and you don't correct them quickly, like this is a talented football team, but also it's one that I don't think they can do it, guys. I hate getting ahead of ourselves here, but I think Oregon's played too many tough games this season, and they've played too many games where like they've had to be in it and they've had to be focused and they've had to make plays that, even if James Madison gets out to a decent start here, like I do think that Oregon's just tested enough to not really be scared in this one.
He's Tyson Alger, joins us every single Wednesday. He is the home of the I-5 corridor, Lookout Eugene Springfield. And you're referencing Barnett III, the quarterback there at JMU. He had some comments over the week kind of talking about how when he grew up, which I know this is about to make us all feel super old, when he grew up, Oregon Ducks were the place that they all wished that they could play. The Mariota Heisman, the facilities, the jerseys, et cetera, et cetera. Is the game plan from maybe a football standpoint, because we know the crowd will be there, is the game plan from a football standpoint to get ahead of them early and get their brains in a zone of, boy, we don't belong here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like it's kind of been a fun run up to this game. It seems like both fan bases have been pretty cordial and fun with each other, and you have seen a lot of quotes from like JMU players that are not only like respectful, but almost kind of like in awe of what Oregon is, and I think that's going to be fun for them. And when they come out onto the field and they see all the television cameras, it's going to be a neat experience, but it's not very fun playing at Autzen when you're down like 14-0 and the crowd's getting into it and your offense is becoming one-dimensional. And so I think, yeah, that is the best game plan, is be welcoming, let these kids have some fun as they come in during pregame introductions, and then just kind of put it to them, because I think that's the one thing when you're playing a lower caliber team, is you just don't want to give them hope from the start. And the longer that they can stay in it, the longer that they think they can win. And I think Oregon is just going to be trying to cut that out from the start.
Tyson, probably the biggest, I guess, on-field story is the return of the wide receiver core with DeCorian Moore, Gary Bryant Jr., and Evan Stewart. How much do you expect them to actually play, or is this a, hey, let's get them out there, let's get them loose? Do you think they're going to factor into the game plan as far as, opening scripts or anything along those lines, or is this just a let's start gearing them up for Texas Tech?
I think this might be more of a gearing up. I mean, it was funny. They have that open practice, and they have those three guys kind of practicing next to each other, and all the Oregon accounts are quick to tweet out pictures. And if anything, I think it just gives James Madison and other teams down the road more things to prepare for. Now, maybe they are completely fully healthy, and it's been a awesome last 3 weeks of rest and recovery, but I do think that these are guys that are going to be way more important to be healthy down the road against, the Texas Techs, Indiana's, Ohio State's of the world. That being said, if they are good enough to be on the field and go, I wouldn't be surprised to see them at least shake off a little bit of rust. But I don't think this is going to be something where it's like, hey, DeCorian Moore's back, let's force feed him 15 times in this game.
He's Tyson Alger, the I-5 corridor lookout, Eugene Springfield. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, maybe a little look ahead. I'll ask you the question about are we testing things for Texas Tech, or are we just handling business once and for all? We'll do that next. Tyson Alger, our guest here, as it always is on a Wednesday, 105.1 The Fan.
The
All right, he's our Duck guy. Tyson Alger joins us every Wednesday. You can check out his work on the I-5 corridor, Lookout, Eugene, Springfield. And I'm getting kind of sad, Tyson, because we're getting near the end of the season, no matter how it turns out. I'm just going to miss you. I'm going to miss you.
Yeah, it's been a fun professional relationship.
Yes, I will miss you too. Let's get into this game. I'm curious how you attack this from the coaching standpoint, because I think we're all in the idea of punch them in the mouth, get this thing over with, get players out, get them rested. Is this an opportunity which we were kind of curious about before the Penn State game, before the Indiana game, before the Iowa game? Oregon had some teams of lesser quality that they were able to potentially check on some things, potentially keep things secret. What's the vibe you get on whether it's play calling on the offensive side or just motivation side leading up to a most likely matchup with Texas Tech?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to mess around early. I think that this is one of those games where it's like, it's definitely a mismatch. We've seen the talent gap between these teams. We've seen James Madison's record against top 25 opponents, or it's 123rd ranked strength of schedule, or the fact that I think they have 3 guys on their entire roster who are 4 stars or better, and the Ducks have like 58, so a little bit of a difference there. But it's also the playoffs, and if you lose this game, that would be one of the most embarrassing losses in Oregon program history. So I don't think that they're coming into this game being like, let's hide everything and worry about Texas Tech. Like I think they're going to come in and try to get their points early. That being said, the one thing that has been a pretty constant with this Oregon team this year, especially in that earlier part of the season, is when they have played teams that where they have that mismatch, where they are supposed to win, like they've cleaned up pretty well. I know it feels like it was a long time ago, but that month of September, they were scoring 40, 50, 60 points every other week. So I think this is one where you can get your points in early, and then you can kind of take the foot off the gas and maybe kind of get rotations in of guys that you think are going to need to shake off some of that rust for Texas Tech, or maybe you're not going to have to use your full entire playbook for the second half, or maybe you can even get Dante Moore out of that game, and so that way he has 0 chance of going into Miami banged up. But yeah, I mean it's such a kind of a unique situation for the Ducks in this bracket, because if you look across the rest of the playoff, like every other game's a pretty good matchup. This is the only one that's like a 21-point spread coming into this thing. It's been weeks, I feel like, or months, I feel like, since Oregon's had a spread that big, and so it's playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Oregon needs to play their A+ game in this one to get a victory out of it.
Dice, I'm going to do the thing where we're actually looking past this, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this. The idea of Tosh Lupoi and Will Stein and their ability to prepare for not just this game, but going into Texas Tech, because right now there's a quiet period. It's the tampering window, if as it were, but once they win this game and you get into the next part of this, you're looking at, both Cal and Kentucky for Lupoi and Stein respectively. They've got teams to build, and they've got transfer portals to work around, and there's going to be guys coming, there's going to be guys going, and all those things. They can sit there, and Dan Lanning can sit there and say they're locked in, they're focused, they want to be here. But we all know the reality is they have other jobs that they have to worry about, and that's going to take up more of their time and more of their attention when they're taking on a much more difficult opponent in Texas Tech. How much of that is going to be Lanning transitioning to, whether it's guys on staff or, leaning on consultants or whatever else it is, as they kind of prepare going into that next game, as those guys start preparing for their next careers?
Yeah, that's one of the things that Lanning has kind of talked about in the last couple of weeks, is just how, yes, obviously Will Stein and Tosh Lupoi are incredibly important figures on this team, but he's also been very he's given a lot of credit to the entire staff in terms of how they go about building their offensive and defensive game plans, and it's very a lot of hands go into making something. So it's not just like you're taking those 2 guys out and then everybody else around has no idea how to go about doing this thing, or it's not familiar to them. That being said, we were talking to Tosh yesterday, and I can't get over just how busy these guys legitimately are, because Tosh Tosh kind of like took the position of, yeah, like over my dead body, were they going to drag me out of here and not let me coach during the playoffs? Kind of taking like the anti-Kiffin position, and like you respect that, and it's a great soundbite. And for somebody like Tosh, who's a notoriously hard worker, like you believe it too. But at the same time, if they're game planning for JMU 12 hours a day, and then you're getting on the phone, or getting on the phone afterwards to start like assembling your staff in Berkeley, or in Will's case over in Kentucky, like those are just really, really long days. And if you're playing teams if you're going up against teams that aren't facing that, where it's just all your focus is in on one thing, like, yeah, like I think it's hard, and I think it's one of those things where this is why they have to be professional compartmentalizers. And luckily, they do have a head coach in Dan Lanning who went through this process 4 years ago when he was still the DC at Alabama, or at Georgia, when he was hired at Oregon. And the one thing Dan had was the benefit of they were 3 hours ahead, so they could kind of finish up what they were doing in Georgia and then still have some daylight in Eugene to work on things. But yeah, like I don't think Texas Tech is sitting there going like, oh man, this is great, like Oregon's going to get beat up by JMU and we're going to have a hobbled Ducks. But I think you might have a slightly distracted Ducks, even if they're doing their best to avoid that.
It's Tyson Alger, the I-5 corridor, lookout Eugene, Springfield. And Tyson, we'll kind of get you out on this. The reports are, as he announced, that Bear Alexander will return next year. I think there's guys we assume, like Amari Washington, will be gone. Reading between the tea leaves with Bear coming back, is that more of a situation to plant himself in a better draft position? Or can I read the tea leaves and think Dante Moore's coming back? Where are you sitting on the quarterback at Oregon, as nobody knows anything and it's all speculation?
Yeah, it's kind of been one of those interesting ones this year, because if you would have asked after the Penn State game, it seemed like he was going to be the number one draft pick, and then you have a couple bad games or injuries, and it's Dante's leaning towards staying at Oregon, and then it seems like the last couple weeks it's been swinging back the other way. I don't know how much of Dante's situation is affected by Bears, but also like if I'm deciding to come back for another year, having the confirmation that I'm having a top-level quarterback coming back, that probably doesn't hurt my decision. But I think overall, this was a huge year for Bear. He had a lot of hype in his career and not a whole lot of production, and this was kind of like the first real kind of proof of concept that this is a really good player. But I do think that he still could really benefit from another year, and I think that's what he and his people saw too. And also, this is college football. He's a big part of a really good Oregon roster, and I'm sure he probably made out decently financially for making that decision as well. So, don't know about Dante. Getting Bear back is huge because he's been really good, especially the second half of the season.
What are you writing this week? The I-5 corridor, lookout Eugene, Springfield. Go ahead, let us know.
Dude, I had a fun one reporting on Friday. I spent like a whole day at MacArthur Court as they were playing. It was the return of the MAC high school basketball series. So, yeah, I'm kind of going poetic and featurey with it, boys. So we're setting scenes. We're painting a picture, and that should be coming out tomorrow. So.
The poinsettias of Augusta is basically what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
I'm going Rinaldi on this thing.
I love it. He's Tyson Alger. Check out his work, the I-5 corridor. Look out Eugene, Springfield. Enjoy the game this weekend, amigo, and hopefully, no matter what. No. We'll wish you a Merry Christmas. We'll flip around maybe New Year's Eve with you. Does that sound good?
Dude, I could imagine nothing more fun than spending New Year's Eve with you boys.
Yeah, that's my guy right there. He's Tyson Alger. Thanks, buddy. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tyson.
Every single Wednesday, you can find him right here with us at 10:30 and 10:45. Nice enough to grace us with his presence as the Ducks look forward to James Madison. Again, you can hear all the coverage right here on the Fan Sports Network as kick is at 4:30. When we
see that though, the way he talked about this and the way everybody's talking about this. Yesterday, I said if JMU were to pull this off, it would be a bigger upset than Boise State or Oklahoma. That's why.
Well, upset-wise, yes, it will be. But I still think we thought Boise State could win that game.
To an extent.
They're in a Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's different when you're choosing it based on the numbers than James Madison being the 20th ranked team because the ACC is hot garbage. But I see your point. We come back, hour number deuce. There's some breaking news in the NFL that we'll get to, and we'll have Danny Cannell on at 11:30. So stick with us. Having a great time. Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, some big news out of the NFL this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins benching quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in favor of 7th-round rookie draft pick Quinn Ewers. Tagovailoa threw 2 touchdowns in garbage time in Monday's loss to the Steelers, but also threw his league-worst 15th interception. Over in the NBA, the Trailblazers, like most of the rest of the league, are off today. Their schedule resumes tomorrow night, hosting the Kings. The Blazers are 10-16 on the season, 11th in the Western Conference. There are 2 games, however, in the association tonight. 5 o'clock, the Bulls, 5.5-point underdogs hosting the Cavaliers. And we got another 5 o'clock tip, this one on NBA TV. The Timberwolves are 8.5-point favorites hosting the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is doubtful with a left ankle sprain. And on the college hardcourt, Oregon men's basketball in action tonight as well, hosting the Portland Pilots. It's a late 8 o'clock tip on the Big Ten Network. Coverage here on the Fan Sports Network starts at 7:30. The Ducks are 19.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's Window into the Fan. The firm of Harris and Meringue.
What's funny is the back actually looks pretty good. It's the front that really needs some action.
With Patrick Harris.
Boy, I'm stroking out today.
And Danny Meringue.
The pucker factor turns into suction.
The college football playoff is here. 4 games for a chance at the quarterfinals.
You look at those two teams on paper, and they're almost equal in their schedule strength, their common opponents, the results against their common opponents. But the one metric we had to fall back on, again, was the head-to-head.
This is the firm of Harris and Meringue. First round week of the college football playoff is brought to you by video only on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM, 1080 AM, The Fan.
All right, hour number, dudes. Thanks for being a part of our day. If you missed any of the first hour, you can go back and check that out. We had Tyson Alger talking a little Oregon Ducks football. Get that wherever you get your podcasts, including places that rhyme with pre-gameify, as you can catch all the pregame and postgame action right here on Portland Sports Leader, leading up to your college football playoff game at Autzen. Get your podcast wherever you can, 1051thefan.com, the Odyssey app, over on the YouTubes. If you missed Jack Fitzpatrick from JMU's Twitter troll account, he was on with the Sunrise guys this morning. And if you missed any primetime yesterday, they were having a great conversation about the NBA Cup that made me giggle. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast, the Odyssey app, YouTube, fast forward, rewind, except for Into the Future. For that would be impossible. Coming up on this hour of the show, we will get into a little bowl chatter. We'll have Danny Cannell join us at 11:30 and Web Gems as well. A little college football heavy, but we'll start in the NFL as there was some breaking news this morning, and we already have our kind of Ducks situation lined up for the first hour, so apologies that it took a little late to get here. But the Miami Dolphins have announced that Tua Tagovailoa will not start this coming game, and maybe not for the rest of the year, and maybe not for the rest of his career. And that leads to the question of where does Miami go from here? I mean, there were reports that Stephen Ross, when they fired their GM, did not want to fire Mike McDaniel. He was concerned that McDaniel would turn this around and be a great coach, and they were letting a great coach walk out the door. Now, Mike McDaniel has taken them to the playoffs, which is something that they don't really do in Miami and haven't in Stephen Ross's tenure, I believe. It's only like a handful of times since 2009, and they haven't won a game since 2000.
Yeah. I think it was 2 appearances.
2 appearances. That's a rough situation. Look, Tua is such a maligned quarterback. There are times when you see him and you can look at him and he can look really good. The athleticism is there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a lefty thing. I don't want to bang on lefties by any means, but
I mean, why not?
There's just something about Tua that's never felt right. And then you watch his head bang off the turf a bunch of times, and it might be time to cut bait.
Well, I think that it was always the case. And when they gave him that deal, I was like, but why? Why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Like, and it's the fear of the unknown. It's like, they don't want to do that because, well, he's actually kind of good, but then now you're going to have to do this. And we've talked about this Dolphins team so many times this year in the sense of what they have and don't have. And, well, what they don't have is a lot. A lot. I mean, Tyreek Hill is not something you want to have. Jalen Waddle is fine. They just released Matthew Judon, who was a guy that signed with him in August, and they traded away Jalen Phillips. It's just, this is a thing that needs to get torn. Like, I'll use my example of my team. The Raiders had to be torn down to the studs, and you had to get rid of everybody, and you had to completely start over. And they still suck, but there's a path forward now for them. Their draft situation looks at least doable now. Like, they have assets. They can, they've got Ashton Genty, they've got Brock Bowers, they've got Max Crosby,
Geno Smith.
Yeah. But I mean, there are building blocks there. Now, they don't have a ton, but if you're asking me about whose future I want right now, the Raiders, the Dolphins, I hate my team because they have sucked worse than the Dolphins have over the last 25 years.
Yeah,
and I'd rather take the Raiders.
Yeah, and the Raiders are kind of lining up for the number 1 pick in the draft, and we'll see where they go with that. Yeah, I think it's tough. We talked about it at the trade deadline. It was like, what assets of this team do you want?
Yeah, like Jalen Waddle. Like, again,
good player.
But, like, could he swing another team where he goes there and is the number 2 or number 3? Yeah, absolutely. In Miami, what does it matter?
Yeah, and I wonder if I wonder what Stephen Ross thinks about Mike McDaniel. Again, I mentioned that he didn't get fired because they were afraid of losing a good coach. And I wonder if Mike McDaniel is the guy for the rebuild. I would be shocked if he is. I think the writing is on the wall that he is now interviewing for other jobs right now. Of how can you handle this situation and how can it be done? With the contract situation, it's an unfortunate reality in the Super Bowl. I heard Suk talking about this last night on Primetime, and it's just you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Because when you have a Tua, when you have a Kyler Murray, when you have a Trevor Lawrence, you're in this world of like,
is he good enough?
Do I go with it or do I start again? And I think everybody is so terrified of the starting again that they do the one thing that I always say is the worst place you can possibly be in the NFL, and that's mediocrity.
Yep.
And I think having quarterbacks like Tua, like Kyler Murray, and a little bit to an extent of Trevor Lawrence, and he's shown me a lot more glimpses than those two have by far. I would take him night and day over the other two guys. And I don't mean to lump him in, but I keep harping on this. He's my guy that I wanted to watch all year to see how does he respond. And this Jags team looks pretty good. And I think that's what happens. Tua gets you into a playoff and you start thinking, the possibilities. And the reality is that quarterbacks are just so expensive that you're almost forced to do it. And you get lucky if a Brock Purdy doesn't reset the market.
We were talking to somebody this past weekend, very ingrained in the game of football, and he said, you know what impacts change? Fear and ego. That is why change does not happen. And I think that's true, particularly in front offices across sports, because here's the thing. Let's say the Jags decided to move on from Trevor Lawrence this year, and he goes to another team, and he lives up to kind of what he is. And the expectation of being a number one guy and
John Elway,
being touchdown Jesus. Well, guess what that is now? That's an indictment on you, on your organization, your failure to build around him, whether that's fair or not. That's how it's going to be viewed. Oh, they let this guy go. They're a bad organization. They're toxic. They don't know what they're doing. They didn't know what they had in house. So the guys, when they think somebody has something, they hold on and they hold on and they hold on, and it becomes this sunk cost. And you know, I heard the boys this morning talking about a potential trade that was thrown out there by Bleacher Report, and Brandon said something along the lines of, why would they include the Blazers' recent number 3 overall pick and Scoot Henderson in the trade? And there's this my old adage is, I don't care where you're drafted. I don't care what your stuff is. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And I'm not saying that about Scoot. I'm just saying in general, like if you have
in that position,
if you have a potential, or you have the potential to get somebody or to make your team better, and you're giving up a guy that isn't as good, but he has quote unquote potential, or because of his draft slotting, like again, Tua, Trevor, Kyler, they're all in that same boat. Like the idea of like what they are, their pedigree and all those things. The best front offices don't care about that. They don't care about that stuff, and it doesn't matter what you are. The billing, if you were somebody that is just not that guy, you cut bait. The Dolphins roster is littered with guys over the last 25 years that were about potential and pedigree. What was the Oregon edge rusher? Went number 3 overall. Deion Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
All the potential in the
huge
world.
athlete, like better than Kayvon Thibodeau,
Yeah.
maybe the best pass rusher in the history of Oregon, outside of Haloti, obviously.
Was nothing in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they held on to him, and it was like, it's not there, guys. And like you just go down the list of guys that they've, and I'm not doing that to pick on Oregon. That was just a guy that, like, you want to talk about pedigree.
You see it in the NBA all the time. Zion, Ja, Trey,
yes,
fill in the blanks.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we invested this much. Then cut bait, because it's a sunk cost at that point, and the longer you hold on to it, the worse it gets. And that has been Miami, and to an extent, the Raiders for the past 25 years.
Yeah, and I think sometimes teams are putting themselves behind the 8 ball too, because they're reacting and not
Being
anticipating.
proactive. Yeah.
They're not anticipating. Like the Minnesota Vikings is a great situation here, okay? They decided before the season even started. Now, he ended up playing a lot better than we thought. They decided before the end of the season, Sam Darnold wasn't their guy, and decided to draft J.J.
Proactive
McCarthy.
versus reactive.
Exactly. They were like, oh no, this guy's not good. We've got to go get somebody. And they got J.J. McCarthy. And where would Minnesota be right now if they had Sam Darnold?
Probably 11 wins.
Probably 11 wins. I mean, I think Seattle's a better roster.
Well, no, I think Minnesota's a better roster.
You think Minnesota Vikings are a better roster than the Seahawks?
Yes.
Oh, I'll disagree with you on that. But for examples here, they put themselves in a place where they couldn't bring Sam back. No matter you want to talk about the ghosts in the playoffs,
10 tones down,
or just how good he was in the regular season, they couldn't bring him back because they invested a high draft pick, and I think that's too often teams put themselves in the situations that they're in, and I think the Miami Dolphins are exactly here. I mean, could you make an argument that that Tua's career has not been great because there's been a lack of coaching, there's been a lack of personnel,
or he's just not that good,
or he's just not that good? Yeah, but you could make the argument that the team around him has not been good.
No.
And there have been times where he has been good. So it's kind of that rubber meets the road, chicken before egg sort of thing of what is your actual problem. Your actual problem in Miami is Stephen Ross. There's no doubt about that. That's your actual problem. But you still got to try. I mean, the Spanos family is not awesome, but the Chargers are trying to find ways to buck that trend.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, when it comes to trying to hang on to these guys, like Danny mentioned, your Kyler Murray, your Tua, and the like, it's not just about where they were drafted and trying to hang on to that, but it's the financial aspect of it too, because
they already doubled down.
Bait,
yep,
it's a lot bigger financial decision.
$54 million for Tua
than cutting a 6th round quarterback pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as Rufio says on the YouTube chat, cutting bait is the biggest, most impactful, most difficult decision to make it for pro sports front offices, and he's right. Everyone's so scared to be wrong, they're not trying to be right,
and that's why I respect Minnesota. I disagree with them, but I respect it because they put. That's what I'm saying. That they made a proactive decision of what they wanted to do. If I'm a fan, or if I am on the other side, if I'm running a team, that's how I want to operate. I want to make decisive decisions.
The Packers took a quarterback when they had Brett Favre, a Hall of Famer.
And then they took a quarterback when they had Aaron Rodgers.
Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, because they were proactive. They were anticipatory. Like, these guys are going to lose it soon. Let's go find our guy. Maybe they wanted to do that the year before they got Rodgers. Maybe they wanted to do it the year after they got Love, but they identified those guys as these are the type of guys we want. I mean, that's what Pittsburgh's lacking. Pittsburgh stumbled into Ben Roethlisberger, and he became the prototypical Steelers quarterback outside of Terry Bradshaw, and now they can't find one because they built a mold and aren't looking for it again.
I think another thing, too, when it comes to teams drafting these quarterbacks super high is that, look, not everyone, we know this, not every draft class is built the same. So for some reason, and I've never been able to figure out why, NFL front offices can't get past the fact that not every NFL quarterback draft class is the same. And so guess what?
There's always the top three guys.
Just because there's your top quarterback of that class doesn't mean he's the number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick. And I think that's what a lot of teams, especially the bad ones, can't get over. They're like, we need a quarterback. We need one bad. This is the best guy this year, so let's go take him with number 2.
Look at the 2023 quarterback draft. The quarterback draft. Caleb 1, Jaden Daniels 2, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., all these dudes. We don't know how they're all going to pan out. We talk about Bo a lot on this show, and I'm a Bo believer, but is anybody with a pulse that doesn't screw up run that team the same way? I can hear that. I think Bo is doing a good job, but I can listen to it because it's all about fit. Yeah. It's all about your personnel around you. It's all about your head coach. Sean Payton, Mike McDaniel. There's a big gap. There's a Grand Canyon-sized gap between coaching and those two dudes. McDaniel, brilliant future offensive mind. Sean Payton, tried and true Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
The haves and the have-nots.
But it just sounds like, Sean Payton and Bo Nix are a good fit together, at least so far. And then Mike and Tua, not so much.
Yeah, you can always count on quarterbacks being a crazy conversation, and you can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL game live every Sunday, all season long, starting just $30 for your first year. That's like $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We'll slide into college football. We'll have a little chatter about the next few weeks or so and the excitement around it, and then we'll have Danny Cannell on around 11:30. That's Danny Marang. I'm Patrick Harris, 105.1 The Fan.
AM, The Fan.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll have Danny Cannell join us. That'll be fun to have him back on this show. College football guy. Chat a little Oregon Duckies, a little college football as well, and maybe he's got a solution for the bowl situation. But that's where I kind of wanted to have a fun little toss around segment here. It's bowl season, guys. We're here. We're ready to go. I watched a game last night, Jacksonville State and Troy. First off, shout out for that game being at halftime with like 4 minutes left to go in the NBA Cup, because then I basically had a night of sports. Like, I got to watch the NBA Cup final, which I was actually surprisingly very into. And then I got to slide over to watch some football. I saw a coach get a 15-yard personal foul called on him last night for Jacksonville State. And I was like, it's bowl season, baby. Get hyped.
Just means more.
It just means more. Tonight we got a couple. It's Old Dominion versus South Florida. That's at 2 o'clock our time. I'm going to go pick up my kids, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to watch football.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Also tonight, Louisiana versus Delaware. I mean, dude.
That's doo-doo.
I mean, it's 8:30 in Alabama. Is Alabama Eastern time? Yeah, they got to be Eastern time. Got to be Eastern time. That's a late game.
That's a late kick.
That's a late game.
They're doo-doo also.
Also, so we can just
Is
get
that Cam Cleveland?
No, that's
Anthony
Q.
Newman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was Cam Cleveland.
That's good old Anthony Newman. Yeah, Q.
I love Q. Q's the GOAT.
No, the idea that you need to make sure you have that window for 5:30 on the West Coast for those two teams.
It's shocking.
Brother.
It's shocking. I mean, on Friday, we have an 11 a.m. game. Eastern.
Yeah.
Like, that game will end when we come on the air.
Great.
I'm still mad about the famous Idaho Potato Bowl being at 11 a.m.
Why? You're not doing anything.
Because I want to do something.
What are you going to do then?
Throw a party.
Nothing.
I'm going to throw a party, and all my friends are not going to come. You're not invited. You're not invited. Nobody at the station's invited.
You're just bitching just to bitch.
I'm going to have a party by myself.
Why?
I said you better not.
Why?
You better not.
Why do you not like this?
Because I don't like to drink that early.
You don't. Here's something crazy. You don't have to.
Well, it is my day off.
You both might have problems.
When it's your day off and it's your team and it's the bowl game,
Coffee
you kinda,
exists.
It's Friday.
Coffee
You ain't got
sucks.
us to do. You ain't got no job.
Top flight security of the world, Craig.
Exactly.
That's right, Craig.
Exactly.
So I used to hate coffee, like with a fiery passion of
I
a
still
thousand
do.
suns. Okay,
It's gross.
are these
I'm
lights
back at
flickering?
it.
Am I having a stroke again?
I didn't see them flickering this time.
Okay, I'm having a stroke.
Do you smell the burnt toast?
Dude, I just looked up at the lights and now everything's blurry. Thanks, dude.
Oh, it's my fault you stared directly into the sun.
Yeah, you were like, are the lights flickering? And I was like, I don't know. Let me look.
Look, we still got to make it 90 more minutes here, guys,
Yeah,
okay?
come on now. But when I was overseas, when I run out of chew, I'd use coffee grinds. And so I just started hating coffee so much, but I quit
When
drinking.
you ran out of chew, you just gnawed on coffee grounds?
Yeah.
That is a problem.
Yeah, dog. I was in
weird.
Afghanistan in the mountains.
Yeah, I'm going to quit before I do that.
You won't. I wasn't the only one who did it. It happens. But I just had this just disgusting relationship with coffee. But I gave up the energy drinks and I started drinking these coffee energy drinks. And dare I say I'm coming back around
To the
to,
cafe?
to the coffee
I had
in a weird way.
I just hate the generic overall flavor of coffee. It's just gross. And it reminds me of when I was a kid in elementary school and my teacher would come and bend over, and check your homework and stuff, and all you smell is the stale coffee breath.
Well, yeah, old people coffee, they don't got it figured out. I'm curious what this generation is like when they're older.
Look, man, I keep the Altoids in the car for the coffee breath now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a little mint on top of the coffee.
I had a cup of coffee this morning. Also, some tea.
I saw you two fisting this morning.
Double fisting this morning.
Why-
Well, I had to get the caffeine in me
Why were you going with both?
because I'm trying to make sure, Danny, that I don't call out tomorrow or Friday. Okay.
Well, I mean, both tea and coffee have caffeine.
Well, but the voice was starting to go. That's what the tea was for.
Yeah, and the tea is non-caffeinated tea
Why?
because it's medicinal and not caffeinated.
Medicinal, huh?
Yeah, throat coat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Boss man gave it to me. He's
did?
looking out for me.
Do you not keep it in your bag?
No, I have some at home, and I felt totally fine walking out
okay.
walking out the door today, so I didn't think about it.
I always keep a couple of the throat coat teas in the bag, and then the lozenges. Like those things are lifesavers.
Yeah, see, in my bag, it's just the Mio energy squeeze and then my anxiety pills.
I have a computer, headphones, and a water bottle. And the anxiety pills. That's my guy, Jeff
Yeah.
Rust.
My bag has all the things in it, man.
I know you come in with like 6 bags.
Well, there's my regular bag that I take everywhere. Then there's my workout bag, and then on some days there's the lunch bag.
All right, we come back. Let's bring Danny Cannell on. We'll talk a little college football. We'll chat Oregon Ducks, the college football playoff, and maybe he's got solutions for the future of college football. But first, we'll toss it over to Rusty with sports.
This is the firm of Harris and Meringue. First round week of the college football playoff is brought to you by Video Only. Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, some big news out of the NFL this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins benching quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in favor of 7th-round rookie draft pick Quinn Ewers. Tagovailoa threw 2 touchdowns in garbage time in Monday's loss to the Steelers, but he also threw his league-worst 15th interception. The Trailblazers, like most of the rest of the NBA, are off today. Their schedule resumes tomorrow night, hosting the Kings. The Blazers 10-16 on the season, 11th in the Western Conference. Only 2 games in the association tonight. 5 o'clock, the Bulls, 5.5-point underdogs. They host the Cavaliers. And then in another 5 o'clock tip, this one will be on NBA TV. The Timberwolves, 8.5-point favorites, hosting the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is doubtful due to a left ankle sprain. And Oregon men's basketball in action tonight as well, hosting the Portland Pilots. It's a late 8 o'clock tip on the Big Ten Network. Coverage right here on the Fan Sports Network starts at 7:30. The Ducks are 19.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of dirt and spray. Weekday morning 6 to 10 a.m. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
All right, he's kind enough to join us again here on the show. Friend of the show, Danny Kanell. Danny Kanell is brought to you courtesy of BetOnline. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff game and champion lines, along with a plethora, of college football playoff props. Danny, thank you for joining us again. I know you're a busy man. How is the Kanell household getting ready for Christmas? Are we there, or are we a little stressed?
Well, it's been a little bit of a rocky road. Like I've got 18, 17, and 13 in my house, all girls. So I get these, like, the older they've gotten, the longer their Christmas lists have been giving. And I feel like we should do like Secret Santa when there should be a budget, because they're asking for stuff that is probably 10x of what we're going to spend on them. And I keep telling them, I'm like, you guys have to realize you're not getting everything. And they're like, oh, we know. We're just going to put it all just in case. And I'm like, no, there is no just in case. Like, pick one or two, and that's it. So it's been a little bit bumpy. I'm trying to set expectations so that it's a successful Christmas.
Closed mouths don't get fed, Danny.
Yeah, good luck to that.
That's right. Yes, that is true.
Let's get into this right now. The betting odds for the College Football Playoff Championship have Ohio State on top. And Danny, I'm curious your thoughts on that. Is it that we still don't believe in the Indiana brand? Because myself and my co-host Danny, we both believe that Indiana might be the best team in the nation, but the betting odds aren't necessarily saying that. Is it a brand thing, or do we believe that football wise?
No, I think we believe that football wise. And I don't love the way this works out, and I don't like using point spreads or power rankings to say who's the best team in college football, because currently, right now, if the season ended today, it would unequivocally be Indiana. But we all know it doesn't, and they have to go through another gauntlet to get to that national title. So I was in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game, and I actually liked Indiana going into that game for a couple of reasons. One, I think people were sleeping on Indiana. I still think, to your effect, the brand, the impact it has, people don't think they're as good as they are. And then two, I thought it meant more to them. Like, there was something to Ohio State. What's at stake? Like, does it matter for them to win a Big Ten championship? And Ryan Day said, yes, we want to win our first conference championship since, 2020. But for Indiana, that's a place they'd never been before. The number one team in the country with a Big Ten championship, undefeated regular season. It just felt like it meant more. So then when I watched the game unfold, I thought you did see two teams that were very evenly matched, and I would say that you still have more NFL talent on Ohio State. And I thought Ohio State played one of their worst games of the year, especially on the offensive line. All that being said, they missed a chip shot that would have tied up the game with a few minutes in the fourth quarter, and they still could have won. So I just, if they have to go again, I probably would switch and pick Ohio State. Not to mention, after the game, Indiana, one of their best defensive contributors, Stephen Daly, is a defensive lineman, 5.5 sacks, led the team in tackles for loss. He gets hurt for the rest of the playoffs. He's out. And that's like a horrible, I hate seeing an injury impact them, but I do wonder about Indiana's depth in a run like this where they have to win, 3 games consecutively. How is that going to impact them? So I still think Ohio State is the right favorite for this tournament.
Daniel, let's pivot to the local team here, where obviously the home of the Oregon Ducks. They are 15-2 on the odds that you guys have at betonline.ag. That puts them fourth. They're tied with Texas Tech, who, if Oregon takes care of JMU, they will take on in round 2. What is it about this Oregon team that you look at and either excites you or still leaves you with a question of whether or not that they can not only move past JMU, but move past Texas Tech and get into the semifinal and possibly a championship game?
So you guys don't know this. I was doing some stuff for CBS Sports on selection, like when the selection's coming out. So we get the teams, we get the 12 teams, and within 5 minutes, my producer goes, hey, we need a bracket. Bracket. They all want a bracket. So I didn't get a lot of time to break it down, but when I went through the brackets, I put Oregon as the national champion. So I am bullish on Oregon in being a team. I think sometimes you look for similar storylines, and it doesn't mean it could happen, but I do think Oregon is kind of flying under the radar the same way that Ohio State was last year. They lost that game against Indiana, and it was not a great performance, and you got pushed around. But since then, I've loved the way they bounced back. And I think beating Iowa on the road the way they did was massive. For Dante Moore to make the throw he did to Benson, like one of the best throws of the entire season, was awesome. Beating USC, who I still think is a really good team, not just beating them, but dominating them, bouncing back after they gave up a couple scores in the first quarter, and then going on the road and beating a good Washington team. I think this Oregon team is getting right, getting healthier at the right time. And I think every time I talk to Dan Lanning, I think it just leaves a bad taste in his mouth the way they exited last year's playoff in the Rose Bowl. So I think they're really well coached, and I know there's distraction with, both coordinators going on to get other jobs, but I'm a huge Dante Moore fan. He reminds me a ton of Jordan Love. I think he's a really talented quarterback. They can run the football. I think their defense is overlooked, and I think their path is actually pretty good. We know they're heavy favorites. They should advance against James Madison. I'm not a big believer in Texas Tech, that they're as good as people think they are. I don't think their schedule was that tough. Indiana, who they would probably play then to get to the championship game, I just told you, they lost one of their best defensive players. I think Oregon could beat them in a rematch, similar to what you saw Oregon-Ohio State last year, and then they're in the title. So I just gave you the path. I am bullish on Oregon. I think they're coming together at the right time.
Danny, kind of along in that same vein, if it's not Oregon, you've got Miami, A&M, Bama. As far as odds-wise, they're all pretty tight. But are there any other teams in the first-round bracket you go, hey, if they get right, this could be a team that could be in the national title game? If Marcel Reed goes out there and balls out, can they do it? Can Trinidad Chambliss, fill the gap for Lane Kiffin and him not being there? Is there anybody else that you're looking at, possibly at Arizona State last year, where they had the opportunity against Texas to maybe really surprise some people?
So I think there's 4 teams that I don't have to talk myself into winning it, like Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon from the Big Ten, and Georgia from the SEC. I feel really good if you said, hey, you have to place a bet on, I'd be like, yeah, I'll place a bet on one of those 4. Then there's probably 2 more that I feel like I have to talk myself into, but I could see it. One of those is Miami, and the other is Texas A&M. Those are the 2 teams, and they're playing against each other. That's why it's my favorite game of the weekend, because I do think at their best, and if they can get, and they've been a little bit bumpy, right? Both of them have had their moments, but if they can string together a hot run, I think Miami or Texas A&M are the other teams that I believe. I don't think Alabama, Oklahoma, I don't think they can do it. I told you I'm not a believer in Texas Tech's offense. Ole Miss, I think they've got too much to overcome. And then we've got the group of 5 teams. But Miami's a team that I saw in person a couple times this year. They've got outstanding offensive and defensive line play. They got a couple guys coming off the edge, and Hakeem Mesidor and Reuben Bain, who's probably going to be a first-round pick. And then it comes down to Carson Beck. And then on the flip side, Texas A&M is very similar. Marcel Reed, if you guys remember, they played South Carolina. They were down 30-3. It was ugly. He had the worst half of football you've ever seen this year by any quarterback. It was awful. Mm-hmm. And then he followed it up in the second half, maybe the best second half you've seen of anybody. And at his best, he is awesome. But he's been streaky, much like Carson Beck. But I do think the team that wins this game could use it as a confidence boost, kind of gain some momentum to go into a second-round matchup where they could potentially pull off an upset against Ohio State. Now, they'll be probably a touchdown underdog against Ohio State, but I do think one of those teams could have the makeup to get that done.
He's Danny Cannell, joins us courtesy of Bet Online. That's a big praise from you, coming from a Florida State guy telling me Miami might go for a distance. So I appreciate that.
It's hard. It hurts me too.
I want to slide over. You mentioned one of the games that you don't believe in either of these teams, and I'm 100% there with you. Oklahoma, Alabama does absolutely nothing for me. I already watched this game. It was a struggle to watch from the beginning. I know Mateer's hand situation is weird, and Alabama can't run the ball, but outside of the game, it's the Kalen DeBoer news. You're so invested in this sport and so much closer than we are. We're the other side of the country. Is there real smoke to the idea that not necessarily the Michigan job, but that Alabama is not a place for DeBoer? And if so, is it a place for anyone?
It's a great question, and it's funny how all this started. So it goes back to Penn State's job. There was a local reporter for Penn State who put out a report, and it gained some traction, where he said Kalen DeBoer is the number 1 target for Penn State. And everybody runs with it. And they're like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. And they start looking at it, and they're like, ooh, if Alabama misses the playoffs, boy, they would love to get rid of him and kick him aside, and then Penn State would be a perfect fit for him. Well, there's one small problem with that. Like, no one asked Kalen DeBoer about that. And by the way, Alabama made the college football playoff. Like, they did. Like, a lot of people thought if they lost to Auburn, that was going to be it. And maybe it would have been, and Alabama would have been brokering the deal to Penn State. But it didn't. So it kind of started there. And then, obviously, Penn State brought in Matt Campbell from Iowa State. They found their coach. So that was kind of put to bed. Well, then we see this surprise, issue that crops up in Michigan with Sharon Moore getting fired. And it's like the same people. To me, it's a little bit lazy because you're just, who would be a good hire for Michigan? And we all agreed Kalen DeBoer would be great. And then we talk ourselves back into, well, if he loses to Oklahoma, they're going to be upset and they send him packing. It would make a ton of sense, but I don't think there's a ton of validity to it. Kalen DeBoer did put out a statement, and he said, hey, I have no interest in this, which I might believe. Now, all that being said, circumstances can change. So this is where it gets into the talking yourself into it. If they get beat bad by Oklahoma, maybe Kalen DeBoer comes home and he's got people for sale signs in front of his house and he's getting booed everywhere he goes. Maybe he does reevaluate and says, you know what, I'd go to Michigan in a heartbeat and they'll pay me a bunch of money to do so. But I really don't think there's too much validity to it at this point in time. Granted, it's college football. It's wonky. It's wild. It could change in a heartbeat. But I think a lot of this has just been speculation driven by the media.
All right, Danny, we'll get you out of here on this one. What are some of your favorite bets going into the CFP this week and kind of throughout?
I love the under in that Alabama-Oklahoma game. I think it's 40.5. It's just, I think that game is going to be gross. I mean, I think it's going to feel like a mid-tier as like regular season game. I do like both the favorites against a group of five. So I like Oregon against James Madison. I do like Ole Miss versus Tulane. Even with the big numbers, the only thing that makes me curious.
Do you need the hook of that Oregon JMU game? Because that's the one that I'm looking at. Because we've been sitting here talking about how 21 just seems it's super easy to see 31-10, and I'm like, you give me 20.5, I'm in. But you give me a 21, I'm looking at it like I don't like that number.
You know what I probably like the best, and this gets a little bit more exotic. If you find a first half number, because I do think Oregon should be able to control the line of scrimmage. And then what I always worry about in a game like this, and health has been such a priority for Oregon. Let's say it's the fourth quarter, start of the fourth quarter, and they're up 21, and they're like, you know what, we've got a comfortable lead. Let us get some of our starters out, and then they don't need any style points, so they're not there. But I just think Oregon and Ole Miss are in different classes than these group of five teams. So I would not sweat it. I could see them winning by 31. I just feel like these are going to be pretty comfortable wins. I think it's going to be a shock to the system for JMU. What kind of makes me nervous is it's never that easy, right? Like and everyone's crapping on the group of five. They don't belong. Like, what if we get one of these games upset? I don't think it happens, but it would be college football if it did. But I'm not worried about it. As long as Oregon plays the way they're capable of. It would be a shock to me if Dante Moore throws 2 interceptions, and that to me is the recipe for a close game. I don't think that happens. I think they'll game plan and they'll be fine. So I'm not worried about the hook.
Well, you got a lot of fans in this neck of the woods taking Oregon to go all the way, Danny. Thank you for joining us. He's Danny Kanell of BetOnline. Check out betonline.ag for updated college football playoff game and champion lines along with a plethora of college football playoff props. Danny, have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy the games. We'll catch up with you soon.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great holiday as well and enjoy the playoffs.
Awesome. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you. That is Danny Kanell, courtesy of BetOnline.
I love when he comes on.
He's a great dude.
Awesome.
He's really fun. I always love his work on TV. I loved his work on radio. Danny's
good dude,
a really...
despite being from Florida State.
I almost went to Florida State for grad school. So there's this little weird thing inside of me that's like, I got no problem with Florida State.
And, of course, shout out our guy Jimmy Foy. So
Yes. I was never the biggest Bobby Bowden guy. I think it was just as a kid watching the old dude sort of thing.
I was the opposite. I loved Miami and Florida State. I know down there you can't do that. But growing up, I've told you this. Doak is one of my bucket list places to go to in college football.
And I don't even think it's that I didn't like Bowden or Florida State or Miami. It's just, dude, I was born and raised Pac-10.
Yeah.
Everybody else was not as good as us. We felt that and we looked forward to whoop the Big Ten every year. That's my childhood. So a big shout out to Danny Cannell for coming on the show. Maybe we'll circle back around when we get semifinals if Oregon continues to advance. But you heard it right here. He likes Oregon to go all the way, and I know that's going to make a lot of you happy, including you, Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Your team going all the way. When we come back, it's everybody's favorite Web Gems, 105.1 The Fan.
Sometimes it's good.
Aw, I've interrupted happy time.
Sometimes it's bad.
You son of a...
It's Web Gems,
What'd you do?
the firm of Harris and Meringue on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 and 1080 The Fan.
All right, this is Web Gems, everybody's favorite. We do it every single day at 11:45. Coming up in the big nooner, we'll have a little Blazer conversation. A couple players, their stats versus perception, as Danny's got one and I've got another. It'll be a fun conversation there. Plus, NBA Cup final action was last night. Sticking your thumbs in places they don't belong.
Thumbs and bums.
And then we'll have a little conversation about this wide receiver situation for an NFL team. And then closing arguments to send you on your way. But Web Gems brought to you by something Danny kind of was talking to me about when we were on location in Baltimore once Mendoza won the Heisman, about the last kind of Heisman Trophy winners and some nominees being Pac-12 guys.
It's dominated.
It's
by
dominated,
Pac-12.
which then I stumbled across because, you know, your phone's always listening to you. I found a list of quarterbacks from the Pac-12's final season in 2023. These are what's going on. Caleb Williams was at USC. He was the number 1 overall pick, starts in the NFL on a division-leading team and won the Heisman. Michael Penix Jr. from UW, number 8 overall, a Heisman finalist, also a starter, when healthy, for an NFL team. Bo Nix was at Oregon, the number 12 overall pick, a starter on probably the 1 seed in the AFC, a Heisman finalist. Cam Ward, Washington State University, number 1 overall pick, NFL starter, also a Heisman finalist. Fernando Mendoza at Cal, Heisman winner, likely first-round pick, if not overall number 1, and the Davey O'Brien winner, AP All-American. You got it. Dante Moore was at UCLA for your Oregon Ducks. We'll see what they do. The backup for Cam Ward was John Mateer, who could go in the first round, quarterback at playoff-bound Oklahoma. And the last one, the quarterback at Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, who's technically an NFL starter. The top comment...
For how much longer?
The top comment on this is, let's see if it's still there. Yeah.
That's like saying I'm technically a journalist.
The top comment on this story is almost like it was a good conference. It was a good conference.
Yeah.
Quarterback you, dude. Pac-12 was quarterback central. Quarterback central.
I mean, we talked about this, and I think it's okay to say this. We talked about this with Pernetti, and he was like, "Yeah, it was, and it sucks to see what happened."
Yeah, and it was kind of identity, you know, like the Big Ten. You know, I preach all the time about how I grew up. Like, I can't wait for Jan 1. January 1st, you know what I do in the afternoon?
Rose Bowl it up.
I sit down on my fat ass, make some food, and I watch the Rose Bowl, and I don't care who's in it, and I root against the Big Ten team that's in it. Unfortunately, it'll be Indiana this year, but that's where I will take off my sports journalist glasses, as Rusty calls them, and root against Indiana because I don't care who they're playing. When I was a kid, like, you don't root for no Big Ten team in the Rose Bowl because that's the history. And their identity is run the football, line play, you know, be aggressive, be stout, and be angry. And the Pac-12 always had that as well with quarterback play and making things look sexy. Never really high-end defenses. Carson Palmer, Aaron Rodgers, like the list goes on of Pac-12 quarterbacks. Drew Bledsoe, you know, like for my guy. The Pac-12 list goes on and on and on. Warren Moon came out of the Pac-12, you know. Troy Aikman came out of the Pac-10. You know,
quarterbacks and wide receivers. That's what came out of the Pac-10 and Pac-12. But just go down, just throw me the damn ball, Keyshawn Johnson. Like,
I know.
Just go down the list. And I know Ohio State's wide receiver U and LSU has had just a bevy of dudes. Go look at USC and Washington over the last 20 years and the wide receivers they've churned out. It's a pretty good list.
If I'm already like this at 40 about the Pac-10, Pac-12, what am I going to be like at 70? I'm going to be nauseating.
Bold of you to assume that you make it to 70.
That is a bold. I'm putting this all on future Patrick's shoulders.
Brother,
it's all on him to do this.
From the time I think I was about 17, I've always said, if I make it to 60, I did good.
Yeah. I'm being told Andrew Luck, which
Yeah,
reminds me.
Wait till you get to almost 50 and be like, ooh, I want to push that out a little bit further.
A reminder of Pac-10, Pac-12 quarterbacks. I'm being told Andrew Luck, which reminds me, John Elway.
Yeah.
We can keep going here. Keep going here. The throwing Samoa
Troy
and Jack
Aikman?
Thompson.
Yeah.
I did say that. I did
you did?
say
I'm
Troy.
sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's pretty great.
Todd Marinovich.
Oh, yeah. Sam Darnold.
I mean, USC, again, most of those quarterbacks didn't amount to much.
Kyle Bowler. Jared Goff.
You did have your Carson Palmer there.
Oh, no, Carson's
Jared
easily
Goff.
the best. But, I mean, you went from Carson to Leinart. You had Darnold. You had Barkley, Booty.
And then you had Booty.
Yeah, but again, Sanchez, you just go down the list of guys.
You know who's not on this list from 2023 because he was at LSU and won a Heisman? That'd be Jaden Daniels.
Yes. Yeah.
Boom, roasted.
That's what I mean. Everybody talks about, it's offense first. Yeah, dog.
Yeah, that's what we do.
We have
throw the
sunshine
football.
and we throw that ball around the park.
Hell yeah, man. All right, the Big Nooner is next. We'll have a Blazer conversation. Stick with us. One more to go. 105.1 The Fan.
firm of Harris and Meringue.
I do have a giant safe.
The opening week of the college football playoff is upon us with Patrick Harris.
Sure is nice to pile on some old pancakes and syrup after a night of beer drinking again.
And Danny Meringue.
Hell, man. My grandmother's quicker and tougher than you pansies. Of course, she's 6'3", 250. I'm 4'5", 40.
This is the firm of Harris and Meringue. First round week of the college football playoff is brought to you by Video Only on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM, 1080 AM, The Fan.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go here. The firm of Harris and Meringue. We do this bad boy every single day from 10 to 1 p.m. Coming up after us, we'll send you over to Duck Insider from 1 to 2. Then we'll give you the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. And then I think you know what I'm going to say is prime time from 3 to 7. Isaac and Suk, the best guys in the biz, they'll take you all the way home, finishing up 13 hours of live, local, continuous, regional sports talk radio.
Duck Insider, I hardly know her.
Ding. Ding. The fan text line, 503-864-6326, can hang out with us also on the YouTubes, 1051thefan.com as well. Getting your texts in on some people that I missed. So thank you. There's Joey Harrington, Marcus Mariota, one Heisman, Brock Heward, the Hewards in general. And don't forget, Super Bowl MVP, Mark Rippon. You know how many Huskies are Super Bowl MVPs? 0.
Well, I mean, if we really want to go way far back, we got your Dan Fouts, too.
Ooh, Dan Fouts, Oregon. Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm Smith.
USC.
There you go.
Super Bowl MVP.
That's Super Bowl MVP.
There we go.
We're talking quarterbacks, Daniel.
I'm saying packed Super Bowl MVPs. Like, come on.
Coming up this hour, we'll get to some NBA Cup final action. There's a wide receiver causing massive problems for this NFL team, and they've decided to cut bait. And then closing arguments will send you on your way. But I wanted to sneak a little Blazer chatter in today, as it feels like the Blazers haven't played a game in like a week and a half. Are we in the All-Star break right now?
I think tomorrow will be their 4th game in 12 days.
Glorious.
The last 2 weeks, last week and this week, Sunday and Thursday.
Well, they were up until that point. They were playing games a little bit more than one every other day.
Right. Well, and this week it makes sense because you had the Cup semifinals
Trust
and
me,
final and all that.
We
stuff,
all circled this period as like, thank God.
I know, right around the holidays is a nice time too.
Yeah, and look, I'm tired covering the team. I can't imagine how they're feeling being this shorthanded, this beat up, the tax they've had to do, the traveling they've had to do. I mean, they haven't played at home basically at all in the last 6 weeks. So for them to actually start getting a couple of home games, like I think they play 7 of 9 at home going into the new year. And it's like, yeah, dog, you need that because you've been out on the road a ton. Like, even when they've come home for 2 games.
Right.
So it's just bing, bing, and then back out again.
We were kind of having this conversation off the air yesterday. You were throwing some Denny Avdia stats at me, and you are one thing that I love about you, Danny, is that we were just talking about draft prospects and stuff like that from certain players. When you are 10 toes, you are 10 toes, and you have become firm 10 toes on Denny Avdia.
Yeah.
Just as the player he is, the style he creates, and what he adds to this team. And there's no doubt about it. What I love about Denny when I watch him is he's got a little old school basketball in him, in the sense of that boy, when he gets the ball, he sees the paint, he sees the hoop, and he says, "Me go that direction." Yeah. And he takes a drive. You were telling me some stats about Denny driving through the lane.
Yeah, so I'm doing my deep dive on Denny, and I was hoping to do it maybe when we were in Baltimore, finish some of it up, but it was just exhausted. So I decided to string it out a little bit, and I'm actually glad that I did because Denny's had a couple of clunker games, and I want to see how he rebounds out of that and see if that kind of starts to level out a little bit.
Side real quick to derail completely. Did he have some clunker games, or were other guys just able to step up?
No, he had a couple subpar shooting games.
Game was a rough game.
It was
rough game all around.
But Denny's now on the season averaging 26, 7, and 6. And he's shooting 47, 38, 81.
And 2 weeks ago he was 27, 7, and 7.
Yeah. So, and he's played, this is through 26 games? Yeah, 26 games.
10 and 16 on the season.
Yep, and he's appeared
in the Western Conference. Thank you for paying attention once again
to
my award-winning sports updates.
He's about the only guy that's played every game. That's what I mean. Like,
I'm just goofing.
I going through this, he might be the only one. Holy crap, he actually might be. Just to kind of think about that off the top of my head. I know
got
he
me all
was. Oh yeah, I know they were close to him missing a game, but I've been diving into this with Denny and just kind of getting a better understanding of how teams are guarding him. And I've got access to Second Spectrum / Genius IQ, which is the new name for it. So with all the tracking data, and I wanted to see how Denny was doing in and around the paint. And first of all, when you talk about shots attempted in the paint at the rim, Denny is 11th in the NBA. And he is slightly above average of expected shot quality. And so he's basically, the shots that he's taking and making are about what you would expect. For comparison's sake, hold on, I need to adjust here. I'm sorry, those are heavily contested shots. These are not the wide open shots. So he actually does pretty well on those. But when you take a look at this, you start looking at like, not Giannis, Victor Wembanyama, he's like 35% above expectation. Just to kind of
damn cool.
Yeah. He's an absolute freak of freaks in that regard. So Denny takes a metric crap ton of shots at the rim that are contested, and his results are about what you would expect, which
should be some more free throw attempts. I'll say that out loud.
Yeah, he had a couple games there where he got the crap beaten out of him and was not getting to the line. It's kind of started to correct itself.
Is Denny a superstar now? The refs have decided that this guy can get these calls.
They kind of put him in the corner for a couple of games, and they were like, yeah, no, this guy is getting hit. And what teams do is they submit video of like, hey, dog.
Yeah, check it out. Because that's the perception. I mean, the perception versus the stats for him kind of line up. You know, when you tell me you're about to give me a defensive, did you give me the defensive coverage?
No, that's what I was just getting ready to go to.
Like when you tell me that is what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that the referees are being told from the team. I mean, all people are going to stick up for their guys, but I'm glad referees are seeing that because when I watch the game, my eyeballs tell me, is there anybody in this league that's getting slapped around like that more?
So everybody knows that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the guy when it comes to drives. Last year, he led the NBA in drives.
He's so good.
Okay. Denny is blowing him out of the water. Denny Avdia is blowing SGA out of the water when it comes to drives overall and drives, more importantly, with help defenders present. I asked you to kind of guess. SGA has 331 drives this year with help defenders present. That accounts for about 19 per 100 possessions, right? Denny has 402.
That's a large gap.
That is the gap between 1 and 2, and there's no gap anywhere down this list. Okay, so we're talking about what, 71 drives? That's the same difference between SGA at 2 and Russell Westbrook at 14.
Whew.
Okay, that's the kind of gap you're looking at. So SGA is otherworldly as a finisher. His points per direct are at 1.293. That's basically 130 points per 100 possessions.
And I asked you, why is it that his is so much lower when it comes to the comparison between Denny?
And it's SGA is an otherworldly finisher. Otherworldly in the paint, otherworldly creator on the drive.
Due to his footwork.
It's his footwork and his hands. His shot making in the in-between, not mid-range, the mid-paint, which is one of the tougher places to score in the NBA. But it's also, if you know how to use your footwork to decelerate and create that separation, the difference between Denny being great this year and being truly transcendent, he's starting to figure it out a little bit. Denny doesn't have a mid-range shot. That's not something he has. He also typically goes all the way to the rim.
Well, that is his mid-range shot now. He's making up for it by going to the rim, and that's why when I watch him, I'm just like, oh, Denny's got the ball. He's going in the paint.
But the ability to create space and separation 2 feet, 3 feet from the rim, where SGA just stops on a dime and just hits the floater.
Defender goes backwards because they can't.
And you just have all that, or you draw free throws. Like that is the evolution that, like when you're looking at Denny's game, we're no longer talking about big changes in his game. It's fine tweaks that up percentages, up efficiencies.
He's figured out what's working.
Yes. And for Denny, though, Denny's in the 72nd percentile when you're talking about points per direct drive. So not only is he number 1 in total, he's up in the upper quartile as far as like what you're talking about. So if you're getting a ton and you're getting high efficiency, that's when you're talking about great players, it's their ability to do it a lot, to do it consistently, and do it at a high level of efficiency. Because the guys in this list, when you're talking about drives with help, again, this is with help defenders present. That means guys are loaded up to take it away because they know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Denny's 1, SGA 2, Cade Cunningham 3, James Harden 4, Jaylen Brown 5. That is the company that Denny Avdia is keeping.
There's an NBA champion in there in Jaylen Brown. There's a Hall of Famer in there in James Harden. There's my pick to win the MVP next year.
There's an MVP and NBA champion in SGA.
In Cade Cunningham, there's SGA too, and then there's Denny.
So when I've been talking about he's putting up Jason Tatum-like numbers and the idea of him, like, some people said he's not a number 2, he's a number 3, or he's like, no, Denny Avdia right now, through 26 games, he is a dyed-in-the-wool, good number 1, incredible number 2. I was talking to Sprague about this. I go, if Denny Avdia is the second best player on your team, you are a contender.
Without a doubt.
That is how good he is right now.
Well, who's going to be the number 1?
And that's the
question.
Or can they get another guy as good as Denny?
And have them play number 1 together. Real quick, because we're up against it. Do you know who leads the association in offensive rebounds?
I would imagine Victor would probably be there. Walker Kessler would be there, but they've both been dinged up, so it's probably Donovan Clingan.
It is Donovan Clingan at 100 in 22 games and 552 minutes played. Number 2 is Rudy Gobert at 94, so 6 less, which is a game swing, but he's played 26 games as opposed to 22 games and 800 minutes compared to 550.
I mean,
it sometimes doesn't look like it on the court. This is the opposite of the Denny thing. It sometimes doesn't look like it on the court, but Donovan's progression as a rebounder and as a dude hanging down there, I think is really starting to grow. You know me, I said at the beginning of the season, he's my guy that I'm watching this year, that I want to see the big jump from him.
DC, coming into the league, the 2 things I knew he was going to be able to do: protect the rim, protect the paint as a shot blocker, rim deterrent guy, and be an offensive rebounder. He is one of, if not the best offensive rebounder in the league. Walker Kessler, before he went down, he only played 5 games, was leading the league at 4.6. Donovan is at 4.5. I mean, you look at percentages, where Donovan needs to get better is being better on the defensive glass.
That's what I was just about to say. You can't be that great on the offensive glass and be MIA on the defensive glass.
He's not MIA. He's just not transcendent.
Yes, exactly. And I would like to see that part of his game evolve.
Be great. You don't have to be the best defensive rebounder in the league, but be great. But his superpower is the offensive glass. 4.5 offensive rebounds per game between him, Mitchell Robinson, and Steven Adams.
He's great at grabbing balls from one end.
That's beautiful.
I like that.
I love Donovan Clingan. Maybe I'll get a jersey.
And he's just
PDX carpet jersey.
He's super close to averaging the double-double now. He's up to 9.7 points per game.
All right, we'll keep Blazer chatter going throughout the week for Out Every Day, because that's what we do here on Portland Sports Leader. When we come back, the NBA Cup Final was last night as the Knicks take down the San Antonio Spurs. We'll have a little bit of chatter on that. Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 The Fan.
I swear to God, that'll stop your heart.
Coming up next, well, this NFL team's got a wide receiver issue, and maybe the wide receiver has a bigger issue as he was told to go home. You go bye-bye. So we'll get to that in about 15 minutes, finish up the show. But sticking in the association, the NBA Cup was last night as the New York Knicks defeated the San Antonio Spurs 124-113. And I'll tell you what, there was a little moment there in this game, because there's a lot more I'd rather talk about than the actual basketball itself, that I thought San Antonio was going to make this a game. But boy, the Knicks just kind of dominated this game from start to finish. OG Anunoby had a fantastic night, 10 of 17 from the field, 50% from three-point, finished with 28 points. Brunson had a nice stat line until you look at his percentages, which were a little rough. But boy, that Knicks team offensively can be pretty fun to watch. You know, they're a go kind of team, and they're led by Jalen Brunson, who is not my kind of guy that I like to watch play, but he is the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, the Spurs last night, not exactly putting on a stellar shooting display. They were able to hit some threes at least to keep it there, but defensively they just didn't have it going. And Wemby was out there again, coming off the bench. They bumped his minutes up from 21 to 25. They're going to be careful with him. Both him and Dylan Harper were really solid last night, but Steph Castle couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Neither could Devin Vassell, De'Aaron Fox. You just kind of you look at that and you go, yeah, that's not really going to get it done. Now they did do the thing where they put 7 guys into double figures, but nobody was super efficient outside of Harper and Luke Cornett. And, you know.
And Wemby dealing with the death of his grandmother is what we found out after the game, can kind of tell you what's up in that.
And he still showed up.
He did. And I think Wemby is building himself a very good reputation in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the media and with the fans mostly, and I don't know if he wants to be the face of the league, but
I think he does.
There's an opportunity that he could, because when you hear him talk about like rivalries with Oklahoma City Thunder, he's just like, no, they're the champs. They're in a league of their own. And he kind of defers a lot. He's kind of like, we ain't done squat here yet. Let us keep working. We'll keep grinding, and I'll keep getting better. And I think he's got a very soft, approachable kind of image going right now, and not in a like Russ Wilson kind of fake way.
Yeah.
But in a true, genuine. I mean, how old is he?
22.
Yeah, dude, he's got a long way to go in this, and he's missed time.
He's 21. He'll be 22 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's missed time. He's got a lot to learn from this league too, despite coming out to a rip-roaring start.
Yeah, he's just averaging 26, 13, and 4.
Yeah, I think I saw a lot of metrics that, like, defensively, this Spurs team is one of the best teams in the NBA, and offensively, the New York Knicks are one of the best teams offensively in the NBA. And that's always a fun thing to match up with. Now, the NBA can be a different spot, because if San Antonio can play their defense but they can't shoot, you'll lose that game. NBA's not always defense wins championships. You got to be able to play some defense.
You have to be a top 10 defense, really. There's only been like 2 teams in the last 25 years that have operated outside of that, and one of those was the Warriors, because they jerked around in the first half of the season. Their defensive rating sucked. But if you're not a top 10 defense, you're not going to win a title.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically the gist of it. But this Knicks team, I got a lot of friends that cover the Knicks, both in like the greater big media for The Athletic and New York Post and all that kind of stuff, but also guys at the what were like fan blogs that have taken off and become big sources of information and content for the Knicks. And they'll bitch and moan about certain guys, and it's New York sports, so it has element to it. And I love those guys. They certainly believe in this team. And they think this team is special, and it's all those things. And the coaching changes, moving on from Tibbs was needed, but I think there's probably some James Franklin-esque type stuff there. But at the same time, there's something about this Knicks team that I just don't wholly trust.
Dude, I am right there with you.
And I know what it is. It's Cat.
It's Cat. It's 100% Cat. And the fact that there's been talks around Cat being moved to try to get that piece, whether it's a Giannis conversation or a whatever conversation. But the reality is that Cat makes too much money for what he produces. He's good. He's very good.
He's very good, yeah.
In fact, outside of OG, on this team, it's a lot of players that are good players, but not quite my jam. I mean, there's some Josh Hart that I really love, especially him and Brunson's relationship and their attitude with the media is a really fun story to watch. But like Jalen Brunson, not quite my guy. Mikal Bridges, not quite my guy. Karl Anthony Towns, not really into it. There's just a lot of dudes that play basketball in a way that I don't love. And so it's easy for me to kind of just,
And what's funny is about the game last night and the Knicks, pulling off this victory in the Cup championship. Number one, nerds put up the banner.
What's with that?
Before we
championship or bust in New York because we win so many championships?
Exactly. Also, the Lakers hung one up, and so you can hang one up too.
Did the Bucks hang one?
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and again, who's
what is this, Notre Dame?
Who's won titles recently? Are the Bucks and Lakers in there on the list? Yes.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So hang it up.
Sorry. Hard to disagree.
On hanging the banner?
Yeah.
Why?
For the NBA Cup.
Who cares?
It's regular season games and it doesn't mean squat. It's like, look, the Blazers get a bunch of crap for hanging a Pacific Division winner banner. To me, this is no different than hanging a division winner banner.
See, I understand the division banner, but what I would counter with is if you're Adam Silver, which you could use all the good publicity
of course, if you're Adam
right
Silver,
now,
you want that team to hang that banner.
because you're trying to push this thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to push this NBA Cup. I mean, do I care yet? No. But I will.
More people are caring.
But I will say, I watched the game last night. I think it was very helpful that it was on Amazon, and we talked last night that they cover the game better than anybody nationally. So that was a big benefit for me. But I did care because I could tell that Jalen Brunson really gave an S last night and really, really wanted to win that thing.
They all did.
Nobody was happier at the end of the game than Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I would counter because this NBA Cup reeks so much of the FA Cup in England with their soccer. And this isn't a soccer segment. What I would do with the NBA Cup, honestly, is I would stretch it over the season and not finish it up here before Christmas.
Well, what they're trying to do is make this part of the season more impactful.
I understand, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
I mean, I'd argue it already is.
Well, and that's the thing, because the narrative is always the NBA season doesn't start until Christmas.
And
so they're trying to push that up a little sooner.
And what's interesting about that game last night is, we talked about, whether it's Brunson or Bridges or Hart or OG or Cat. What swung that game last night was Tyler Kolek and Jordan Clarkson.
It really was. And you could tell after the game, they were all over Kolek.
Yeah.
They were like, you're the dude. You're why we're here.
When you play 20 minutes and you get 14 points, you go 5 of 9, you knock down some threes, you grab 5 boards, you get 5 assists. Like, Kolek is another one of those guys, another Marquette guy, shockingly. Yeah, it turns out good program that puts out a lot of really good players in the NBA. But you just kind of go down the list and, like, that's because the Knicks are not a very deep team.
No, that was their biggest problem in the playoffs last year.
And having those guys, because you look at Mitchell Robinson, who can be really impactful.
He can.
18 minutes, 15 rebounds. 10 offensive rebounds. 10 of them things. But the thing is, they don't really have wing depth because they're starting Josh Hart and they're starting Mikal Bridges and they're starting OG Anunoby.
And they need to start Josh Hart for defensive reasons.
Because you have to cover up for Jalen.
Yep.
Because Jalen's so small, you have to be bigger basically everywhere else. And Josh Hart, while being 6'5", is a 6'5" power forward.
He really is.
He's strong as hell.
He plays bigger than he looks.
He can cover 1 through 4. And it's and then Bridges is 6'8", OG 6'8", Cat 7 foot, but they can go bigger and put Mitch Rob on the floor with Cat at the 4, but that also creates some problems because then you're putting Cat maybe on a stretch 4, Pascal Siakam type who can just put you in hell, as we saw in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they can get this kind of help, and that's what watching the Knicks and kind of what they do or don't do at the trade deadline, because they were hoping Gershon Yabusele would be a little bit more for them. I could see them moving him or trying to make one more move to try to get another big wing, hybrid forward type.
Antetokounmpo?
I mean, not Giannis, because if you're the Bucks,
there's nobody on this team I want.
The package.
Well, the people I want, you're not going to give me.
Well, I mean, even then, like, what are you going to do with them?
Yeah,
they're ancillary pieces. They're not like.
It does feel like these players only work well together with these players.
That's the thing. So it's like they're secondary players. They're not primary players. Now, OG had himself a hell of a night last night.
Great night. He was the best player on the floor.
But I do wonder what this means for the Knicks as far as like going forward. Does it springboard them at all? Is this kind of no, they're actually legitimate. Like we've talked about this and it doesn't matter.
East is wide open too.
But also every one of these teams we've seen do this. The Bucks, the Pacers, the Lakers. Now, the Lakers went sideways because of injuries, and then they make the Luka trade and all those things. The Lakers are quietly one of the best teams in the Western Conference right now. As much as we don't want to talk about it or admit it.
I caught that the other day, and I went, oh no.
They're a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Now, again, no depth.
No depth, but Reeves is an all-world basketball player right now.
Alongside Luka and LeBron.
Yeah, who already are.
So you just kind of take a look at what and I know what Jeff just said as far as like it not mattering or any of those things. It seems to be a pretty strong indicator so far because it propelled the Pacers. It propelled the Bucks. It propelled the Lakers. Like, it's one of those things, and it's not just I think it has the opportunity to propel the Spurs.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's kind of doing because it's putting a little bit of a crunch and a little bit more pressure on some games in a period of the season where there's not a ton of that.
Yeah, and I hope that works for him because, outside of what we do for a living, when I harken back to my previous years of not doing this job, it's hard to get me in. But I was in last night. And if it's just one game, it'll be one game. Last note I'll say on that is an exit only, and if you put your fingers in that area, you might get hit in the face.
I don't believe you.
At least I will get a cock back.
We'll need that. We'll do that.
Yikes.
Should I have pressed a button?
Let's get out of here. Okay, that's Jeff Rust with sports.
This is the firm of Harris and Meringue. First round week of the college football playoff is brought to you by Video Only. Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Oh boy, Red Tail Golf Center's holiday sale going on now. Up to 50% off all your holiday golfing needs. Red Tail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. Visit us at golfredtail.com. First on the Fan, big news out of the NFL this morning. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting. God, I wish you guys could hear what they say in my ear. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Dolphins are benching quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in favor of 7th-round rookie Quinn Ewers. Tua threw 2 touchdowns in garbage time in Monday's loss to the Steelers, but he also threw his league-worst 15th interception on the season. He will serve as QB3 moving forward. Trailblazers, like most of the rest of the NBA, are off this evening. Their schedule resumes tomorrow night. Hosting the Kings, the Blazers are 10-16, 11th in the Western Conference. Only 2 games in the association tonight. At 5 o'clock, you got the Bulls, 5.5-point dogs, hosting the Cavaliers. In another 5 o'clock tip, this one is on NBA TV. The Timberwolves, 8.5-point favorites, hosting the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, doubtful with a left ankle sprain. Oregon men's basketball in action tonight as well. They host the Portland Pilots. It's a late 8 o'clock tip on the Big Ten Network. Coverage right here on the Fan Sports Network starts at 7:30. The Ducks are 19.5-point favorites. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour with Luke Anderson. Weekdays 2 to 3. The Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Isaac and Suk here with
Up, that's me here. My name is Patrick Harris. That's Danny Meringue to my left. This is The Firm. 20 minutes away. 20 minutes away from getting away from you weirdos.
I'm not the weirdo.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
That was all you, Doug.
I suppose that's all me. Closing arguments coming up next to send you on your way. I've had this on the show sheet to get to, and we just haven't had the chance in a while. But there's a wide receiver causing problems again, and I find it fascinating because this player is massively talented, had a little bit of injury concerns, but then held out and basically wanted the bag. They gave him the bag, and then he said, just kidding, I don't want to do that at all. I'm speaking about Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver who is currently on the roster of the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see how long. This is a quote that Kyle Shanahan said on Ayuk and his season, how it's basically ended, and they've placed him on the reserved left squad list. And there are conversations about voiding his contract and just getting out of it altogether. He said this quote, "We haven't seen him in forever, so that's the decision they make. It's pretty simple for me. I haven't seen him in a month. Same with our team. It hasn't been an issue with our team at all. We've kind of been plugging away and no big deal. It's just something we've been used to for a while." Twofold. Before we get into Ayuk himself, the Niners are quietly still in the running to win the NFC West, which would good chance give you the number 1 seed in the playoffs. And nobody's talking about the San Francisco 49ers. More importantly, nobody is talking about how great of a coaching job Kyle Shanahan's done this year with, again, all the injuries, all this noise, and he's still making it happen. He had Mac Jones, for crying out loud, and made him look like he's going to go get a deal for, like, the Miami Dolphins next year. I've been so impressed with him this year.
Make it make sense.
And what they've done. I don't know how to make it make sense other than I just think he's a damn good coach. The second side of it is Brandon Ayuk. I said it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You held out. You wanted the bag. Then they gave you the bag and you can't go to work.
Which is weird because in the NFL, the bag disappears.
Yeah.
Like that. It ain't guaranteed. And I've heard some people say, like, well, you know, it just takes one team. And you're right. But do you think that if this deal gets basically voided because he said that he's not going to challenge it and the NFLPA is kind of pissed about it.
And that's super weird, too. He's just like, oh, yeah, I don't go. Yeah, I don't care.
But you think you're just going to make that money back? This reeks. It reeks of the same kind of situation around John Moran in the sense of the wrong people are in your ear. They're gassing you up and they're not giving you the real. Look, I know I do this a lot, but I'm going to come back local with Dame. Dame, throughout his entire career, keeps his professional circle very small. And he only lets people speak into it from people that he trusts. Mm-hmm. And those people that he trusts tell him what's up. And that's a big part of why he's successful. Having people be honest with you and tell you things and keep things in perspective for you that genuinely have your best interests at heart. Hey, dog, I wouldn't do that. Hey, you know, I'll use crypto. You see Dame out there pimping crypto during that bump? No. And there's a bunch of NBA players, both current and former. The FTX scandal down in Miami. What was it? Sam Bankman-Friedman and his whole deal. Go look at the list of current and former professional athletes. Shaq's on there. Brady's on there. Like, there are big names that were wrapped up in all this. And I don't say that's like, oh, look how great Dame is, but it's like, it shows you, like, if
just
you
keeping things tight. Dude, I just watched 3 Godfather movies, man. I'm fully aware.
But there's a real part of that. And again, you're not going to take, one in the back of the head in the driver's seat, but like, yeah, dog, like, you can commit career suicide by thinking your ass don't stink.
Well, I was about to ask this question, but I don't want to because I don't like him either. But like, I'd rather have Tyreek Hill than this situation.
Oh no,
I mean, Tyreek Hill as a human is pretty egregious. But as far as a player goes, I mean, Tyreek shows up.
For the most part.
For the most part. And Ayuk, I don't know what his future looks like.
No.
Who's going to take a ride on this? It ain't going to be 4 years, 120 mil.
I don't think the Raiders are doing that, because remember, the Raiders are one of those teams, and I was like, man, maybe I could talk myself into it.
There's and okay, so maybe Tennessee gives you a 1 year deal for 13.
And that's the thing is,
but New England ain't bringing you in. Denver's not bringing you in. The Colts ain't bringing you in. Philly's not bringing you in. I mean, the Lions, the Packers, the Bears, oh my, they're not bringing you in.
Look at the path that Stephon Diggs fell down.
Yep.
And it took him, and he got injured. And it's like, the thing is, like, Antonio Brown, a different kind of crazy, but that path, like, there's a reason why I love the Mike Evans and Larry Fitzgeralds of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The Dames of the world. The guys that are incredible.
The Reggie Waynes, Isaac Bruce.
You know what I mean? Like, there's something to be said about having, certainly everybody wants this, and there's a certain amount of risk you can take on with certain guys. But also, this is where I give Shanahan a metric crap ton of credit. All of the crazy he's had to deal with both the injuries, losing Bosa, losing Fred Warner, both for the season.
I mean, arguably your two best players on defense.
I
mean, Fred Warner is a top 5 player in the league.
If you told me he was the best defensive player in the league, I wouldn't. But I would probably disagree. I'd be like, Myles Garrett.
If Myles Garrett's stats aren't all-time this year, I mean, I love Myles Garrett, but he's having an all-time year. You can say Fred Warner.
Yeah, Fred Warner is like, if you toss his name in the conversation, I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? Like,
especially what he does for the whole group.
Yes. And so what Shanahan has done, managing both the injuries and the absolutely bat-ass craziness of Brandon Ayuk, golf clap.
Be interesting to watch, and we'll see how the Niners fare as they head down the stretch, and they just continually find ways to make it happen. The NFC West, it's a wild place. We'll have some conversations tomorrow about that Thursday night game. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger Thursday night game than what's going on tomorrow. Hawks favored currently by 1.5 over the Rams. Meanwhile, the Niners just kind of hanging out, and they'll take on the Seahawks at the end of the year, so we'll see how that all plays out. When we come back, closing arguments to finish up the day, 105.1 The Fan.
The firm of Harris and Meringue is wrapping up for the day.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled.
Which means it's time for the closing arguments. Brought to you by Leskin Law. One-day divorce mediation. Peace treaties, not war plans. Visit LeskinLaw.com for more information.
You want answers? I want the truth!
On the Fan Sports Network.
You can't handle the truth!
105.1 and 1080, The Fan.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Closing arguments brought to you by Leskin Law. Visit LeskinLaw.com for more information. Some stuff to get to finish up here. The 49ers have had the second easiest schedule, so that might be why they are so under the radar. No big games. That comes in on the text line. Sure, this NFL season has been wild, though, so the strength of schedule is a weird thing. Like the Packers lost to the Panthers, but now they could be in the playoffs. It's really hard to disseminate. The one things that I do know, though, is I know the Jets are bad, I know the Titans are bad, and I know your Raiders are bad.
Yes.
Outside of that, like the Falcons, they have players. They have players that can do stuff. The Giants are now bad because of injuries. The Commanders are now bad because of injuries, but I don't hold that against them. Cleveland has a bad offense, but they got an all-world defense. So I hear the strength of schedule argument. I truly do. And I just say this year, I don't know if I'm ready to get after it on that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm of the mind of injuries are a problem.
In what sense?
In the sense of like what it can do for teams.
It'll change everything.
Yeah. It's, throw your hands up.
I mean, whether we were talking with Tyson Alger today or Danny Cannell today, or whether I talked to the brand man off the air or we talked to anybody else off the air or on the air when it talks to Oregon Ducks coming up against James Madison this weekend, the answer is just get the hell out and be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, assuming, and it's a big assumption because we're not there yet, assuming this receiving group can get back to a little bit of normalcy, this team is in an amazing spot health-wise.
Yes.
Amazing spot health-wise. Danny Cannell mentioned the D lineman for Indiana who's out. Like, everybody's got these kind of nicks and dings, or it's a big player out, or it's just questionable, or how long can they go? And the Ducks sit in a very, very great spot walking into a playoff game, and I think that's why if they're up by 3 scores in the third quarter, adios.
Yeah, pack them up and get out of there.
Pack them up and get out of there. Coming up on tomorrow's show, let's see, what do we got? Blazers finally going to play a basketball game, those lazy bums. I've wrote this down. Can college football tell the NFL no? Ooh, because there's something that's kind of chapping my ass this weekend.
I'm about that.
We will have 10 toes down as we always do on a Thursday. And yeah, this big, we'll look at some playoff scenarios too in the NFL. And then there's this huge game between the Seahawks and the LA Rams. We'll kind of break down the game tomorrow, but I don't know the last time I saw a Thursday night football game with kind of this much on the line.
Well, you also
Smart on them for doing the division game this late.
But primetime games this year, the midweek, the Thursday night special has mostly sucked.
I know. I was mentioning it on the YouTube chats the other day. I think somebody was saying how stoked they were for the game. I just pray it's not the Thursday night curse of just it doesn't matter who's playing.
No.
The game sucks.
It's short rest. It's short turnaround, short game plan, all those things.
And I don't think it will. I think there's just too much on the line for this game to be mediocre. As a diehard faithful, I want more of these segments. I love it. I hate living near the Seattle market. I also dread the thought of Rams, Seahawks, or Eagles winning a Super Bowl on our turf. I'll tell you what, I don't think you got to worry about the Eagles anymore. I might be fully out on them.
I mean, look, I'm out, but you can get me right back in real quick.
Also, some breaking news to end the show. Patrick Mahomes aims to be back by week 1 next year. Duh.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We got on the plane to take off out of Baltimore as the news was breaking. This probably 75-year-old woman was like, "You say Patrick Mahomes?" I was like, "Yeah, he's out for the season." She was like, "Well, you can come back from those pretty quick." And I was like, "Old lady knows ball?" Like, all right.
Closing arguments brought to you by Leskin Law. Visit LeskinLaw.com for more information. Leskin Law's one-day divorce mediation, peace treaties, not wars. That'll do it for us. Duck Insider next. For Danny Meringue, that's Jeff Rust. I'm Patrick Harris. Go do something I would do.
Bye.